Now, listen, and there's more to that cut where he talks about, cutting what's it called? Cousins and cutting Vanoy and all that, and sending a message that you can be replaced. That was also part of that. And let me tell you something. Here's where I think Omar has a myopic point of view of what's going on. And he's kind of just thinking about the players. And this is life. It's life, dude. I'm sitting there working at QAM, and they fire my producer, Brandon Rodriguez, for no reason at all. They fire JT Wilcox for no reason at all. Curtis Stevenson for no reason at all.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the home of InterMiami CF.
His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for InterMiami.
OnsideRadio.com, where the passion for La Rosa Negra runs deep. Download the Radio.net app and listen to Onside Radio in every InterMiami CF game. OnsideRadio.com, your home for InterMiami soccer.
Let's raise a cup to the first among us who put themselves last. To the risk takers, the mask makers, the heroes on the front line and online. To the ones keeping shelves full and keeping us hopeful. To those who don't stop and those making all the stops. To the ones who pick up, suit up, and never let us down. From all of us at Duncan to all the heroes keeping everyone running, we thank you.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yes! Oh, it is. It is! Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Oh, I'm Alex Donno, and I'm with you guys here live for the next 3 hours on OnsideRadio.com. Taking you up, my friends, from 3 until 6 p.m. tonight. We take you up until Miami sports music for the fans. Brand new show. My very good friend Steven Daniels, host from Miami Sports Music. They had their debut last night. I thought Steve hit it out of the park. And this guy, my friends, he is grinding 24 freaking hours a day. He also does a morning show on their podcast network. He had me on the morning show today. I had a great time. We talked about everything, Steve and I. I mean, we went around from the Miami Dolphins to InterMiami to the Florida Panthers, the Miami Heat. We touched on a little bit of everything in South Florida sports. So Steve is grinding his ass off 24 hours a day. And make sure you support him here now, a member of the Onside Radio family, Miami Sports Music for the fans, every single weeknight from 6 until 7 p.m. Very successful debut last night, and I know Steve is going to bring it probably even stronger tonight because I know how it is. Whenever you're launching a show on a new network, you know, you get the butterflies and the nerves out of the way. First episode can be a lot of fun, but the first episode usually is not that easy because, you know, you're a little bit nervous. And I'm not speaking for Steve. I don't know if he was nervous or not, but, you know, usually you get butterflies, adrenaline the first show, and then you really get comfortable after that. So the show I thought last night was great, and it's going to get even better night after night after night after night. So make sure you tune in to Miami Sports Music for the fans this evening. We are broadcasting live, as always, here, streaming live, OnsideRadio.com. You want to listen to us right from our website, you can do that. Really easy, OnsideRadio.com. Once you go to that website, you'll find an extensive list of mobile apps where you can listen for free. Download one of these mobile apps, or all of them for that matter, like Simple Radio, Radio FM, MyTuner Radio, the Podbean app. They're all free. Search for Onside Radio. Make us your favorite station. Listen to us on the go. Listen to us in the car through your speakers on Bluetooth. Wherever you want to take us, we're there with you here at Onside Radio. And like I always tell people, the hot tip for those who are able, you sit at home or you sit in the office in front of a computer, I would highly recommend watching us and chatting with us live on YouTube, because we have extra fun there. We also stream on Twitch as well. So stream us live on YouTube and or Twitch, maybe both at the same time if you're really adventurous. And you can chat with us. The live chat feature is a lot of fun. And every single day, multiple topics from the live chat turn into topics on the show. So we have a lot of fun with that live chat, my friends. This is a big day in South Florida sports. The sphincters are going to tighten up tonight when the Florida Panthers take the ice against the Tampa Bay Lightning for Game 2. We're going to talk plenty about that today. At 5:20, we're going to have on Jameson Olive, lead writer at FloridaPanthers.com, is going to join us. We'll also talk a little Panthers, a little Heat, maybe a little Dolphins with Mike Cugno from CBS 4, who's going to join us at 4:35. Reporter and anchor from CBS 4, our good friend, Mr. Cugno, is going to join us in the 4 p.m. hour. This was a late addition to the schedule today, and I'm going to try to explain why throughout the first hour, okay? Our good friend Sean Stanley from Onside Radio, he hosts the Squared Circle Digest on Saturdays, our pro wrestling show. I came across a pro wrestling story today, and I read 3 sentences into this article, and I immediately took out my phone and started texting Sean Stanley to join us. He's going to come on at 4. He has to explain to me and to Alex Aguirre, who's producing, and the entire world listening, why there are now zombies in pro wrestling. There are zombies in the WWE. I'm looking at videos and pictures today, and wrestling fans are all bent out of shape, and they're angry about it. So this has become like a really big story, and a little bit later on in the show, before we bring Sean on, I have an unbelievable rant, some passionate wrestling fan who is like incensed about zombies in pro wrestling, and this guy's losing his goddamn mind in this rant. I've got to play that for you guys later, and then I have to bring on Sean Stanley to explain why on the WrestleMania Backlash pay-per-view, why there are now zombies in the WWE. So we have to get down to business with that. Later this hour at 3:35 p.m., half hour away from right now, Jakari Gibbons is going to join us to talk some Miami Dolphins and some Miami Hurricanes. 3:20, favorite segment of the week. It's Tuesday. You know what that means? It's Terrible Take Tuesday. You know, the only interesting thing, we've got some strong, a.k.a. bad takes to air out today on Terrible Take Tuesday. I actually don't have any bad food takes to complain about today. It's not too late to submit something. I always tell you guys, if you want to send me a tweet at Alex Donno, Donno spelled D-O-N-N-O, or if you want to submit something into the YouTube chat, a terrible food take that you've seen in recent days, I have no problem submitting it into the list. But as for right now, I've got some bad sports takes is mostly what we're looking at for Terrible Take Tuesday. I've got some real whoppers today, man. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. So Florida Panthers taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight, Game 2. Lightning took Game 1 in a thriller, a really annoying, frustrating, but great hockey game, on Sunday night. Lightning took the first game 5-4. It's a must-win tonight for the Panthers. The Panthers lose this game tonight, you can kiss the series goodbye. I mean, teams have come back down 0-2 before, I get it. But if you're talking about losing the first 2 games at home, so your home ice advantage vanishes completely, and you're down 0-2 against the defending Stanley Cup champions, a team that has successfully cheated by circumventing the salary cap, because they had been stashing Nikita Kucherov and Steven Stamkos on the long-term injury report, signing other players, going way over the salary cap. But, the NHL doesn't count the salary cap in the playoffs. So these guys were knowingly and willingly cheated to have a better team, an uncompetitive advantage, to put the Panthers at a competitive disadvantage, I should say, in this series. And so I want to beat their brakes off tonight. Show no mercy. Right? Because even though the Tampa Bay Lightning should be forced morally, they should be forced to forfeit this series, and no matter what the outcome is, the Florida Panthers should be advancing into the second round. I've not heard back yet from the commissioner, Gary Bettman. I sent him a strongly worded email yesterday about how Nikita Kucherov is an ineligible player and that either he has 2 options, right? Either A, the Tampa Bay Lightning must be forced to forfeit the series. That's a little bit extreme, I get it. Or B, Kucherov needs to be suspended for the rest of the series, and the 2 goals that he scored on Sunday night should not count because he should never have been on the ice. Therefore, the Florida Panthers actually won that game 4-3. I think that was the more reasonable of the 2 options. Like I gave Gary Bettman 2 choices, Gary. You can go through door number 1 or door number 2. Door number 1 is the Tampa Bay Lightning are completely disqualified. The series is over. They forfeit. It's done. Finito. Finished. Or option 2, Kucherov suspended the rest of the series, but Tampa Bay can keep playing, but they have to forfeit game 1 because the Kucherov goals don't count. So the Florida Panthers actually have a 1-0 series advantage. I'm yet to hear back. I'm still waiting on an email from the commish. Any day now. I'm feeling good about tonight, though, for the Panthers. Chris Dreager in net. That was announced today. Our friends who were out there at practice, I saw tweets from our buddy David Dwork from Chirping the Cats. I saw tweets from Jamison Olive, who is going to join us about 2 hours and 10 minutes from now in the 5 p.m. hour, that Dreager was between the pipes in practice. He had the starting goaltender spot, and then Coach Quenneville confirmed it. Chris Dreager's getting the go tonight. I predicted this yesterday during our roundtable segment that, Bobrovsky, you can't say he was the reason the Panthers lost that game because none of the goals that he let in were egregious errors on his part. But at the same time, he didn't do really anything on Sunday night that was extraordinary. Bob didn't do anything in that net that was so special on Sunday that said, you know what, for a team that's had a 1A and a 1B all season long at goalie, right? They haven't really had a definitive starter because Dreager's been really good and Bob has had ups and downs. So Bobrovsky he's not grabbed the bull by the horns, so to speak, this year in net. Dreager has taken a lot of starts away from him. So if you keep going by that theme, I don't think our pal Bobrovsky did enough on Sunday night to say, hey, Quenneville has no choice but to start this guy. He's leaving Coach Quenneville no choice, but he has to keep starting him throughout this series. Absolutely not. Dreager deserves the opportunity tonight, and he's getting it tonight. It's been announced. Chris Dreager is the starter. And, listen, before I found out the news about Dreager, because I was, even though I predicted yesterday Dreager would start, in the 5 o'clock hour we talked with George Richards from Florida Hockey Now, and he told me he thought Bob was going to start. So I thought, hey, maybe George knows more than me. It turns out nobody knows more than me. I know everything. So Dreager is going to start tonight, and if it had been Bob starting, I would have strongly considered betting the over, right? It's usually, for hockey games, it's usually either 6 or 5.5 goals. 9 total goals in game 1. I would have bet the over. I think it was probably 6 for tonight if Bob was starting. But with Dreager and that, I think I'm taking the under tonight, right? I mean, I'm not guaranteeing a Panthers victory, but I'm pretty sure the final score of this game is going to look a lot more like, let's say, 3-2 than 5-4. So I'm thinking of taking the under tonight, knowing that Chris Dreager is going to be in net for the Florida Panthers. The other thing that really pisses me off, despite the fact that there was a handful of somewhat dirty, dangerous hits in the first game. It's going to be a very physical series. Going to be a lot of cheap shots, some fights, a lot of penalty minutes being served. You could have suspended a couple of Tampa Bay Lightning players. Nobody suspended from Tampa Bay. Sam Bennett is suspended tonight. So you take away one of Florida's better players. Tampa Bay have players that by the salary cap should not even be eligible to play who are out there on the ice, and you're suspending Panthers for no goddamn good reason. So, my friends, the deck is stacked against us. Florida Panthers must overcome. They must overcome adversity to get it done. But this is a really important game tonight. My original prediction for the series, Panthers in 7. If they lose tonight, I'm going to change that prediction to Lightning in 6. But if the Panthers win tonight, the prediction stands Panthers at 7. This decides the series this evening, at least from a Panthers perspective. The Lightning could still win the series, of course, if they lose tonight. But for the Florida Panthers, it's essentially win or you're just prolonging the inevitable, okay? So this is making some positive headlines for our Miami Dolphins. Ian Rappaport tweeted out, the Dolphins had more than 70 players at OTAs, the result of a negotiation between players and Coach Brian Flores to lower the exertion level. Accordingly, players showed up to learn. This tells me a few different things. It tells me that Brian Flores has got a really good relationship with his players. They trust him, right? Because we know what the NFLPA has been trying to do. The NFLPA has been trying to strong-arm the NFL. They want to renegotiate that CBA that's looks a lot better for the league than it does for the players, right? It's a lot better for the owners than it is for the players. That CBA that they voted yes to, that they agreed to, they ratified, and now the players' union is trying to renegotiate. They want to strong-arm the NFL. So the stance that the players' union has had is they've encouraged their players not to show up to any voluntary workouts, right? They're citing this BS safety concern. And listen, I'm not saying you shouldn't take COVID seriously, because you should. I've been saying that all throughout the pandemic. But the Players Association has been using this as justification for using their players as pawns, because the NFL showed last year that they can create a reasonable amount of safety for their players in facilities from COVID. And last year was a lot different. I mean, last year during the season, there were no vaccinations. We knew a lot less about the way surfaces should be cleaned and the way air should be purified and what social distancing measures should be taken. You know, really there's no excuse for the lion's share of these players, unless they have some sort of a pre-existing health condition that doesn't allow it. They should all be vaccinated. And we know a lot more about how to keep these facilities properly cleaned and spaced out to avoid the spread of COVID. There's really no reason why these guys can't convene in facilities for optional workouts. And if they're not working out at the facilities, they're working out somewhere. This is not the 1960s where these guys get out of shape, you know, during the offseason and they're selling cars during the offseason. No, man. Football is a 365-day-a-year job. And if these guys aren't working out at their team facility, they're working out somewhere else where the team has no control over them, and the team's people, their physios and their trainers and their coaches are not looking at these players. And you saw what happened with Juwan James. Juwan James is working out away from the facility. He tears his Achilles, and then the Broncos don't have to honor the contract because they're not bound to by the CBA. So, yeah, I'm sure the Juwan James thing plays a part in why attendance is getting a lot better around the league, because these players don't want to get Juwan'd, right? They don't want to get, you know, left out in the cold like Juwan James, unfortunately for him, was, and I like Juwan James a lot. But that's not it, though. I mean, you look at it, Dolphins players trust Flo, and they came to an agreement. Like, Flo's not going to kill these guys in OTAs. Like, he's not going to run them into the ground. He's not going to risk injury in OTAs. A lot of this is about getting together to build an understanding, right? To build an understanding of the style of play, the playbook. It's a lot more beneficial to the younger players than it is to the veterans. But guess what? Miami Dolphins are primarily younger players. This is a very young team, and that's another reason why they've got really good attendance, because the team is so young, right? Younger, hungrier, because the younger you are, the less established you are in the National Football League, the more important it is to create a good impression with your head coach, because you don't want to get passed over. You know, you don't want to, you know, be lower down on the depth chart because your coach may not know you or trust you as much. And you also, you know, if you're a rookie, second-year guy in that league, you got a lot to learn. You've got a big, steep learning curve to start out your NFL career. Hey, by the way, you can always also text the show. I'm going to open up the station text line as well so I can read those at 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. You can text us day and night here on Onside Radio. We're going to air out some truly terrible takes when we return for another episode of Terrible Take Tuesday. You're listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida. We are OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Listen to OnsideRadio.com anywhere by downloading the MyTuner Radio app in your app store. Or go to MyTunerRadio.com on your web browser. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida sports leader. When you need your warehouse looking good while staying efficient, there's only one place to find the finest racks in the business. Pallet Rack City in Hialeah. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. Pallet Rack City is the company you need when you want your warehouse sporting the finest racks in the business. After all, who doesn't love a great rack? Pallet Rack City. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. At OnsideRadio.com, we chirp all day and night. It's time to do some more chirping with David Dwork at our Chirping the Cats report.
The Panthers will be missing one of their top forwards for Game 2 of their first-round playoff series against the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight after the NHL Department of Player Safety suspended Sam Bennett for 1 game. Bennett checked Tampa forward Blake Coleman into the boards during the third period on Sunday, and while he was given a 2-minute minor for charging, the league deemed the play a bit more severe and issued the suspension. The hit was just one of several that could potentially have been reviewed by the league, as the physical play between the two teams has been a highlight in each of their recent games. If the Panthers want to even this series and avoid dropping consecutive games at home, they'll have to stay out of the penalty box. Tampa scored on 3 of their 4 power play opportunities during Game 1, led by their superstar sniper Nikita Kucherov, who had a pair of goals while on the man advantage. The Panthers are expecting another limited-capacity sellout crowd of over 9,600 fans at the BB&T Center for Game 2, and the puck drops on all the action at 8 o'clock.
Keep up with the latest on the Florida Panthers by subscribing on most platforms by searching Onside Radio, your home for South Florida sports.
Now that it's springtime, it's only getting hotter here in South Florida. Make sure your AC in your home or business is running smoothly by investing in a preventative maintenance plan from M&S Air Conditioning. And M&S is a Mitsubishi Diamond Elite contractor. When you purchase a new Mitsubishi electric mini split system, you'll get a 12-year warranty. Or install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit that captures and destroys biological contaminants to improve air quality. M&S Air Conditioning have been providing prompt, honest, and reliable service for over 30 years. Schedule service or call to get more info on our preventative maintenance plans. Call 954-421-3680 or visit ac-florida.com.
Join the InterMiami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
With Make-A-Wish, the impossible becomes possible. A girl battling cancer can become a race car driver battling the course. The boy showing all the nurses his fire trucks can take the helm of a real one. Wishes can give kids with critical illnesses the strength to keep fighting, get better, and grow up.
Where there's a wish, there's a way.
Wishes need you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
A little later this hour, we're going to talk some Canes and Dolphins football with Jakari Givens from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Huge thanks to the people who are on board already on the YouTube chat. We got our guy Ray Grullon, who says he's numero uno in today. Yeah, he was the first guy in the chat. Howdy, Donno and everyone. Bob S. is in the chat. I don't know. I did a quick Twitter search on this. I'm not sure what this is about, but Bob S. says, hey, Donno, just saw a tweet from Mike Gesicki, which just says, see ya in Nashville, fellas. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know what that means. Is he going on? Is he going on a trip? Like, are you trying to say you think he might have been traded or something? I don't know, man. I think I would have heard something about that by now. But we'll monitor. We'll monitor. Yeah, he might be on his way out to get some barbecue out there. So huge thanks to everyone who's already aboard in the YouTube chat, and you can also text us here at Onside Radio at 844-416-8123. Marla is first aboard on the text line, and she asked if I'm looking out at those pink, black, gray, and white seats here at Drive Pink Stadium. 1,000%. They are calling my name. On May 29th, they're going to be calling the names of a lot more people. On May 29th, less than 2 weeks away, 11 days away, I believe, InterMiami are going to play the first game ever here in front of full capacity. Full capacity crowd, and it's going to be sold out. There's no question about that. DC United will be in town in less than 2 weeks to take on InterMiami. Full capacity of over 18,000 will be in the house here at Drive Pink Stadium. That is going to be absolutely beautiful. All right, It's time for the main attraction, my friends. Favorite segment each and every Tuesday. We'll put some truly awful points on blast here in another episode of Terrible Take Tuesday.
There's always one idiot with a platform.
How stupid are you?
You're a moron!
Anybody can say anything these days. This is Terrible Take Tuesday.
Hey, pal. You just blowing from Stupid Town?
Terrible Take Tuesday is brought to you by our friends at Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach. Brats, Wiener Schnitzel, potato pancakes, pretzels with mustard, and lots of German beer. You get all this and more at Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach. Now, there is nothing terrible about Checkers, but we have some truly terrible takes today. Dan Campbell is the head coach of the Detroit Lions. Now, we remember Dan Campbell pretty fondly because he had an interesting run as interim head coach of the Miami Dolphins. He had guys doing Oklahoma drills in the middle of the week, and he wanted to build that toughness. I seriously wonder sometimes when I hear Dan Campbell talk, I wonder, like, is this an actual person or is he an act? Like, seriously, like, is Dan Campbell, he makes himself sound stupid, but is he really so much smarter than the rest of us that this is like a Borat-level troll job, right? Because I listened to Dan Campbell talk. When he first got the job there, the head coaching job there, he kept talking about how, like, he literally wanted his players to smash the kneecaps of their opponents, but, like, said it so specifically and graphically. It's like, wait, that's not a metaphor. Like, he literally wants his players to mutilate their opponents. And now you got to hear this from Campbell on with Barstool Sports. Dan Campbell talking about literally wanting to have a lion at the Lions facility.
I'll tell you what I would really love to do just in general, and I've talked to Sheila about this. I don't think we're going to be able to do it, but I would love to literally just have a pet lion, just a legit pet lion on a chain, a big-ass chain, and he really is my pet. We just walk around the building. We go out to practice. We're in 7-on-7. We're behind the kicker when he's kicking. We're just there we are. You know
on the sidelines, yeah. Yeah, you should. You know what you should do is you should get two of them and put them on each sideline and just teach the guys not to go out of bounds. Don't avoid contact.
And on command, you could train him, like if one of your groups isn't doing well, you could just take him over to their section and just have him take a dump right there in the middle of where their section is at, and then bring him on back. Yeah. I mean, think about it. It'd be outstanding.
Before the game, you could walk the Lions up and down the opponent's sideline and have them pee and poop all over the sideline, and then they have to deal with that all game. Yeah.
That would be outstanding. We're going somewhere. The problem is I don't know if Peter's going to allow that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
We knew, though, we would take great care of it. It would be fed well. It would be petted. It would be manicured. I might end up losing an arm because of it, but that would be even better, you know, because it would validate what this is a creature now. This is an animal. This is from the wild.
Would you give up an arm just to motivate your team?
Ooh, possibly.
For Super Bowl. If I said, Dan Campbell, you are going to win a Super Bowl in Detroit.
Yes.
There it is. One arm.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, being willing to literally give up a limb, and I think he's serious, that's a terrible take. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not – I would only give up a limb for my child's life. Like, I'm not giving up a limb to motivate my football team. And then I love how he says, oh, no, we're going to take great care of the lion. Yeah, we're going to pet it, feed it, manicure it, which is that something that lions are into? Like, we're going to take great care of that lion who also happens to be chained to our sideline. Bro. We're going to take great care of the lion. I mean, our lion is going to get, like, tortured in captivity for the rest of its life. But I'm going to feed him all the spare limbs he could possibly eat.
LSU used to bring a tiger in a cage onto the field prior to the football games. But I know that was stopped years ago, and for good reason. Like, I don't approve of that. Like, I think it's cruel keeping animals in small, like, cages like that. It's terrible. But, yeah, like, LSU used to do that as well. But, like, it just would piss off the tiger in the cage, all the fans and the noise and just the yelling. It's not fun. It's not fun for those animals.
Yeah, it's terrible. Do you get, like, Alex, do you get the same sense that I do where I seriously wonder if Dan Campbell is an act, right? Because
I don't think so.
Like, he comes off like a Saturday Night Live skit of what like the stereotypical tough guy football coach jock would like. Like he might be like 40% act and 60% legit, but there's no way he's not playing it up. Like the guy is a caricature of himself. It's crazy.
He's 100% Americana, that's for sure. Like that guy's I believe it. I think he's tough as nails. I believe he will give up his arm for his team. He's just that type of crazy.
And like he seemed to like the idea because, oh my God, if I give up my arm, it's even going to give more credibility to the Lion.
I don't think that's an act. Like first off, no coach in any sport in the history of sports has gone out to even mention like giving up any limbs of themselves for their team. So just him venturing into that type of like motivational speaking is groundbreaking.
I mean, still, I think the idea of keeping a lion in captivity is a terrible take.
It's Tony Montana-esque, but still, like you said, kind of like a movie in a way, kind of like a character.
See, here's another terrible take. This is from Bears head coach Matt Nagy on Andy Dalton. Like, honestly, they might want to fire Matt Nagy yesterday. Like, so Matt Nagy says about Andy Dalton, and remember, they drafted Justin Fields. Okay, he says, quote, Andy is the starter and will get number 1 reps. Now, honestly, I think that's a really problematic thing to say this early. Like, you don't even want to open up the idea that you're going to let your highly touted rookie compete. Like, and first of all, like, Andy Dalton is, listen, this guy is a journeyman flop at this point. Like, I would not be excited. You remember when the Bears Twitter account tweeted out Andy Dalton's picture, quarterback 1, and then they got flamed for it on social media because I guess only they thought, oh, our fans will love this. Not so much. But no, I think honestly, to say right now, Andy is the starter, Andy will get number 1 reps. I think it's a terrible take because either you don't believe in Justin Fields, which means you didn't draft well, or you're not even going to give him a chance to compete, which is terrible. Either way, it's a terrible take. There is no winning here. All right, here's another terrible take, and this is from the King. I'm the king around here. I don't think anyone has made more appearances on Terrible Take Tuesday than Skip Bayless from Fox Sports 1. Skip Bayless, now he is a Clipper fan, and he's a Lakers and LeBron hater. I'm also a LeBron hater, so I can respect it to an extent, but anyone with eyes saw that what the Clippers did at the end of the regular season, they were blatantly tanking to avoid the 2 seed because they didn't want to face the Lakers, likely will be the number 7 after the play-in. They don't want to face a potentially fully healthy Lakers team in the first round, and it was very obvious what they were doing. They sat everybody. They lost back-to-back games to end the season to the 17-53 Rockets and the 21-50 Thunder, who have won 1 total game in the months of April and May. And they do that to avoid playing the Lakers. We know tanking happens in the NBA, whether it be tanking for draft picks or tanking for seeding. It's clear as day that's what the Clippers were doing. And yet, here is Skip Bayless. He's going to die on this hill that the Clippers absolutely were not tanking.
This is the biggest bunch of hocus-pocus, phony baloney I have ever heard in all my years covering the NBA, dating back to the years I covered the Lakers for the LA Times here in Los Angeles in the middle 1970s.
Yeah, you didn't cover
I've never heard anything like this before. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard played plenty of games together. They are winding down and gearing up for the playoffs, and it was strictly about saving them from themselves. They have both been fragile. I'll be the first to admit it. And for the last 2 games against bad teams, you don't want the worst thing to happen, which is one of those 2 comes up gimpy going into the first round of the playoffs.
Have you seen Kawhi against good teams? Have you seen him?
You're about to see him against good teams for the next 2 months. And he will outlast your team because I'm just hoping against hope that he gets your team in the conference finals because they are going to beat the brakes off, the stuffing out of, the you-know-what out of your team in the conference finals.
You look real big, Skip.
I badly wanted your team in the first round because obviously if you're quote-unquote afraid of the Lakers, Ankle and company, if you're you're really afraid of them, you want them early. You don't want them late.
Exactly.
You
That's
want them in the
bullshit.
first round, and you do not try to tank out of their way in the last two games.
Skip.
You do everything in your power
You can cut it off right there.
get them in the first.
No, it's ridiculous. Now, it's easy to say that as a fan that, oh, hey, you're going to have to get through the Lakers anyway. You might as well face them early. But no, teams don't look at it that way, because the longer you last in the playoffs, the more you can celebrate a playoff run, the more money you earn for a longer playoff run. No, I mean, I know tanking for seeding happens all the time in the National Basketball Association. Skip Bayless is delusional, and he's the king of Terrible Take Tuesday. Terrible Take Tuesday is brought to you by Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach, with those delicious brats, Wiener Schnitzel, potato pancakes, pretzels with mustard, and lots of German beer to wet your whistle. You get all this and more at Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach. When we come back, my friends, want to talk some Canes. I feel like yesterday on the Monday show we didn't talk enough Canes. We'll talk some Canes. We'll talk some Dolphins with Jakari Givens from the Sixth Ring on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Hey, start your morning every day at 8 a.m. with Toasted Sports. Toast covers all the local sports stories while providing some great Miami Hurricanes insight. Download, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Toasted Sports, 8 to 10 a.m., only at OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Listen to every InterMiami CF match on your home for La Rosa Negra. OnSideRadio.com. Catch us every day on the MyTuner Radio app. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
The 25-year-old was reportedly arrested this past week near Vail, where a sheriff's deputy said he saw Camargo's car speeding and changing lanes erratically, which is always really smart. When you're carrying a lot of drugs, you want to speed, you want to swerve, you want to look like you're drunk and high and all that. You want to cause as much attention. You want to bring as much attention to you when you're carrying a load of drugs. That's just the tip for you, thieves out there, you drug dealers, you criminals. Bring all the attention possible to you while you're committing a crime. It's really, really smart.
The Onside Zone with Big O, only on OnSideRadio.com.
Join the InterMiami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit InterMiamiCF.com/tickets for more information.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnSideRadio.com sports update.
Florida Panthers center Sam Bennett has been suspended for Game 2 of the Panthers Lightning series by the NHL's Department of Player Safety. The team skate tonight and puck drops at 8 p.m. Tampa Bay leads the series 1-0. The Miami Heat have announced that they will increase capacity to 8,600 for the opening playoff series against the Milwaukee Bucks. The Miami Marlins open a series against the Philadelphia Phillies, who lead the National League East. Tonight at first pitch is at 7:05. InterMiami's next game is away at Chicago Fire FC Saturday night at 6 p.m. And you're listening to South Florida's only locally owned sports talk station. Coming up, it's more Man of the Match with Alex Donno right here on OnSideRadio.com.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
In just a moment, we'll be talking with Jakari Givens from the Sixth Ring on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. So this came across my desk. Sound like an actual newsman when I say this. Came across my desk a couple of hours ago. They have announced the start time for the University of Miami's opening game this coming September 4th. We all know who they open with. September 4th against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, for some reason, I was thinking the game was on Labor Day. It's Labor Day weekend, but it's on the Saturday. It's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. The Chick-fil-A kickoff. I had been convinced that was going to be a night game. It's going to be a 3:30 kickoff. All right, let's bring on Jakari Givens from the Sixth Ring. Now, Jakari, when I first saw the blatant disrespect of putting Miami versus Bama at 3:30 p.m. on September 4th, at first I'm thinking this goes to show you the suits from the TV network think Miami's just going to get slapped in that game. But then I also realized that Clemson versus Georgia is the same day, and that's surely going to be the night game. So Miami, Alabama in the afternoon, Clemson, Georgia at night. So do you take any disrespect on Miami's behalf that they made Miami versus Bama an afternoon game, not a night game?
Not really. I mean, you kind of can't top Clemson and Georgia. Georgia, that's probably going to be a top 10 matchup at least. Probably both are going to come in rated in the top 8, like at least. So Miami will be a top 25. Bama will probably be somewhere in between the 1, 2, or 3 range. So I'm not upset about that. That's, you play where you play. Actually, it works in Miami's favor that it's a 3:30 game. Just because it's different preparing for that game. Your whole thing is different. Bama's more used to playing a lot of primetime games.
True.
So, maybe the earlier kickoff can affect you. But ultimately, I see it be a sin, it being an advantage for Miami to put them at 3:30 instead of a late game.
Now, you and I have had a lot of Canes football conversations. In fact, late last week, you were a guest of Larry Bluestein and I on the 5 Rings Canes podcast. I encourage everyone to check that out on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. But now, I'm not saying you're picking Miami to win the game, but you don't think it's impossible that Miami can pull off the upset against Bama. What would have to happen for Miami to shock the world and get that W on September 4th?
Well, first off, they have to play a clean game. Last year, we kind of seen in some games Miami still hadn't cleaned up the childishness of penalties, the dumb penalties, targeting, late hits, and stuff like that. They did a better job going down the season, so that would be one. Play a clean game, and one, just play your game. You cannot out Alabama. You can't go out there and try to make it a smash mouth football game. That's not how you beat Alabama. Every team that has beaten Alabama in the past have done 2 things. They've been an explosive offense, spread offense. 1 or 2, they've had a quarterback who was dual threat, who can move in the pocket, who can hurt them with his leg. You look at, i.e., Johnny Manziel going down to Tuscaloosa and beating Nick Saban. You look at Cam Newton going down to Tuscaloosa and beating Nick Saban. You look at Trevor Lawrence in a playoff game where he lit Alabama up. Who else? anytime Auburn has had success against Alabama, they had a dual threat guy. They ran the football. They beat Alabama with an explosive offense. You will not out-Alabama them where you line it up, hey, let's go punch them in the mouth. No, we're not going to do that. But if you come out there, De'Aaron King has one of those 350 yards passing, 80 yards rushing, 5 total touchdown type days. You can beat them. And you look, like I said, look at the track history of him losing games. It's against teams that are spread offenses who are explosive. You see, Florida took them to the wire last year. What did they have? They had an explosive offense, 2 explosive weapons, and Kyle Pitts and Kadarius Toney. And Nick Saban has admitted to this as well. This is an offensive-driven game now. Mm-hmm. So the whole point of the defense, Miami has to come out and score points. So for them to win, that means they've scored around 38 points, and the defense has got some occasional stops. So it's about 38-24 if they do upset Alabama.
I like that. I like that a lot. Jakari Givens is with us here on Onside Radio. A few days ago, I was looking through the Vegas odds, like the ACC futures, and obviously no surprise to anyone, Clemson is favored to win the conference, and then the next best odds are for North Carolina, and then after that for Miami. Do you agree with that? Do you think that's about where Miami belongs with the preseason expectations, behind North Carolina, or do you think Miami could end up better than UNC?
I think Miami will be way better than UNC this upcoming year. People are not taking into account Miami has a lot of returning players, and then they have the quarterback position, the returning 6-year senior. 6-year senior at quarterback. More experience. We're not talking about the NFL, perhaps. UNC has lost their top 3 offensive weapons. They lost a good defensive player in Chaz Surratt. And that's just off the top of my head that I know of. But Miami's returning Bubba Bolden, Nestor Silva. They're adding Leonard Taylor. They're bringing back De'Aaron King, Cam Harris, Don Chaney, Mike Harley, Charleston Rambo, returning Zion Nelson on the offensive line. And that's just guys we're naming at the top, not to mention Tyreek Stevenson, who they added at the cornerback position. All the young guys, James Williams, who's on campus now, Gilbert Frierson, Amari Carter. They have a lot of returning players. So I think Miami's experience, even though they lost Jaden Phillips and Gregory Rousseau, I think Miami experience will kind of overwhelm some of these teams. And I think Miami can't upset Clemson. Ultimately speaking, even though I think Clemson has the best quarterback in the ACC, I still think they lost a lot of weapons. Travis Etienne is gone. You lost Trevor Lawrence on DJ Ugala. How you say it?
That was great. It's a Weungalele, I think is how you say that. That was freaking classic on your part.
And a small sample size, he has shown us that he can be great. But you still have to replace they lost Amari Rogers. That's just some of the names we're naming. So you have to look at that. And then defensively, they struggled last year. If you look at the game against Ohio State ripped them. So a lot of things have to go on in that aspect. But I think Miami can. I think Miami should be the favorite to win the ACC. I think Clemson is more the favorite just based off the name. I think Miami has the most returning players in the ACC, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, this is why we love talking with Jakari Givens, because not only do you get me all gassed up with positivity, but like you actually explain it really well, and you played football. So like I trust your opinions more than I trust my own. So Alex,
you have to think about it. It's only one team that we can think about in recent history that probably brought back a lot of talent and flopped. And that was Florida State when they brought back they won a national title in 2012. Mm-hmm. They came back that next year, the first year of the playoffs. They still went to the college football playoff, but that's about the only team I can really think of that probably flopped, didn't have expectations that they have. Oh, and Texas has been on that borderline, but that's just because the quarterback wasn't good enough. You know, they always brought back a lot of guys, but the quarterback wasn't good enough. I think De'Aaron King is a great quarterback. And the narrative would be different for Miami had King not been injured.
Right. No, 100%. By the way, when you're talking about quarterbacks to beat Alabama, we forgot to mention Deshaun Watson. Big O texted that in. He said that it was the triple threat, the run, the pass, and the massage that Deshaun Watson used to beat Alabama. So that was another dual threat quarterback to do it. We're joined here by Jakari Givens, who does an awesome job on the Six Ring show on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. He's all over the 5 Reasons Sports Network, does a fantastic job. So on the Dolphins, and there's a lot of talk, Jakari, about attendance for OTAs, because the Players Association had encouraged players not to go to optional workouts, but we're getting reports of like 70+ guys at the Dolphins and some other places. How much do you think this has to do with what happened to Juwan James? Because after the Juwan James situation, I totally understand why players would want no part of working out on their own, because they see what can happen.
Well, let me just be clear with you right now.
Yeah.
From a football player that has been to the highest level, I did not make it all the way to the NFL. I went to a few, rookie mini camps or whatever. It's nothing optional in the NFL.
Right.
Do not let these people say, oh, it was optional. They had 70 players show up because it was violent mandatory. So, hey, it's voluntary, but who's going to miss out on a paycheck? You're getting paid to be there, right? They're not going to miss out on that. And the Dolphins players were told, hey, we understand where you're coming from, but we also understand this is a business. So those guys, and you can check the fact history. Any of those guys who chose to sit out this past season or chose to skip OTAs, if you're not no big-name player, you're going to get cut.
Right.
It's just what it is. So it's a fair evaluation. The Juwan James and Deshaun Hamilton situation is just, excuse my language, is a shitty situation. It's just, players work out on their own all the time. It's just a freak accident, right?
Yeah.
So it's a mandatory thing. A lot of numbers are going to be up by OTAs, especially teams that are on the brink. You look at the Miami Dolphins, they're in between. They're in the mix. Like, hey, are they going to be a really, really good team, or are they going to, or they're not going to exceed expectations? So any team with new coaches, or teams that were borderline are going to have full participation in OTAs because they're trying to get a step ahead. Any team with new coordinators is going to have full participation because they're trying to get a step ahead. So don't let it be fooled about, oh, the numbers were high. Like, no, man, they were told, hey, I need to be there, or, we'll have some consequences about a few things.
Well said, as always, my friend. Jakari Givens does an awesome job on 5 Reasons Sports, former Kansas Jayhawk. You want to make sure you follow this man on Twitter at KingJock24. Jakari, thank you so much, my friend, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Anytime, brother.
Love it. That was unbelievable insight. When we come back, we'll wrap up the 3 o'clock hour. Could the Miami Dolphins end up with Rookies of the Year on both sides of the football? We will describe the possibilities when we come back here on OnsideRadio.com. Hey, InterMiami CF fans, join us for every road game as we broadcast live from Dangerous Minds Brewing Company. That's 1901 North Federal Highway in Pompano. Join me and Big O. Enjoy the delicious food and incredible house drafts and giveaways. InterMiami CF fans, your new home for every road game is Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano. Follow them on Twitter at Dangerous Minds B and on Instagram at Dangerous Minds Brewing.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woo-hoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. You can connect with us at OnSideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnSideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Every Thursday, NBA fans can catch one of the best basketball shows in the country when Ethan Skolnick and Ira Winderman host Inside the Paint. Listen to two of the most knowledgeable and connected reporters in the business. Get year-round insight every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. with Inside the Paint on the home for hardcore basketball fans. OnSideRadio.com.
Big O for M&S Air Conditioning. You know, air quality in your home and business is more important than ever. That's why you've got to call M&S Air Conditioning and let them install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit. Folks, it attracts, captures, and destroys biological contaminants to improve your air quality. With stellar customer service, answering your call from 7:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. For more info on high-efficiency air filters and their preventative maintenance plans, visit M&S Air Conditioning at ac-florida.com.
Hey, it's Toast, and when I got PGT custom windows and doors installed at my house last year from B&T Windows and Doors, I knew that I was protecting my house when it came to hurricanes, but I was also investing in my house. My value went up. My home insurance cost went down. Yeah, I can now get more for my house when I sell it because I have PGT custom windows and doors installed courtesy of my buddies at B&T Windows and Doors. Just another reason why you should upgrade your house today. Give them a call, 954-233-0126. That's 954-233-0126, B&T Windows and Doors.
You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
When you're looking to add that extra style and protection for your home or business, visit A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie or Sunrise, where plantation shutters are a major part of our business, and they look great in any home. We have them in white, stained colors, and wood tones. We can even motorize your shutters like the one in the OnSideRadio.com studio. A Shade Above Window Fashions, 954-434-4774. That's 954-434-4774. Love the space you live in. A Shade Above Window Fashions.
You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, Jalen Phillips is getting some love from Vegas as a potential defensive rookie of the year, and I think they're pretty spot on with this. He's right in the mix. I think he had actually opened up as the second favorite for defensive rookie of the year. He's dropped to fourth, but he's still in the mix. Micah Parsons has been the favorite all along at plus 550. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah at plus 750. Kwity Paye, also the same odds as Koramoah. It's at plus 750. And then Jalen Phillips at plus 900. So he's right in that mix. And I think he's going to have, by rookie standards, a monster year rushing the passer for the Dolphins. I think Jalen Phillips is going to hit the ground running, right? The only question we have with him is, knock on wood, you get through a whole season healthy. And I think he's going to be fantastic, right? Then on the other side of the football, it's interesting when you look at the offensive rookie of the year odds. While I think that they're pretty spot on with Jalen Phillips on the defensive side, I don't know, man. I think Jalen Waddle is undervalued a little bit. So Jalen Waddle is 11th on the list of offensive rookie of the year candidates. Number one, shouldn't be too surprising, is Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he's going to start probably all 17 games for Jacksonville, and he's really good. Justin Fields is number two at plus 550. If you want to flush some money down the toilet, bet on Justin Fields, because if you look at what their dopey head coach is saying in Chicago, he's not even going to be the starter. Andy Dalton's going to be the starter this year. So I don't know how Justin Fields is going to win Rookie of the Year when their own head coach can't get his head out of his ass. Trey Lance is number three at plus 700. Zach Wilson. So obviously the quarterbacks are getting a lot of love here. You notice the trend. Zach Wilson has the fourth best odds. Mac Jones, the fifth best odds. That's another one. It's like, I could totally understand betting on Trevor Lawrence, maybe even Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, although I don't think Zach Wilson's team is going to be very good. But it's hard to justify betting on Mac Jones for Rookie of the Year when he may not start at any point this year, or if he does, it could be midseason or later, because it's Cam Newton's job to lose. Now, if Cam plays the way he did last year, maybe you kind of accelerate that process a little bit with Mac. Kyle Pitts has the best odds of non-quarterbacks at plus 1,300. Jamar Chase then at plus 1,500. Travis Etienne at plus 1,500. Najee Harris at plus 1,600. Then Devontae Smith at plus 1,700. And Jalen Waddle also plus 1,700. I think Jalen Waddle should be ranked a little bit higher on that because he's going to be on the field a lot. He's going to be in now, unless Tua has a terrible year, and this might be what the odds makers are thinking because everyone hates Tua apparently. But if Tua has a decent year, Waddle's going to eat, and he may get some good reps on special teams as well and could be electrifying as a return man. So I think the odds are a little bit unkind. All right, coming up next, I want to talk to our pal Sean Stanley from the Square Circle Digest. This is pretty ridiculous what's going on in the WWE. Now, before we're going to bring Sean on, and I also want to play an absolutely hilarious rant from a pro wrestling radio show host. Wrestling fans are incensed by zombies at WrestleMania Backlash. We got to talk about that and more when we come back. Hey, we'd like to thank A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie, 954-434-4774. A Shade Above teamed up with Bandalux to personalize and create on-site radio shade in beautiful pink and black. To order protection with style for your home or office like we did, call A Shade Above Window Fashions at 954-434-4774. Go to their website, ashadeaboveflorida.com. Love the space you live in. A Shade Above Window Fashions.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the home of InterMiami CF.
His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for InterMiami.
OnsideRadio.com, where the passion for La Rosa Negra runs deep.
InterMiami CF fans, join us at our new home this season for all away games as we broadcast live at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company, 1901 North Federal Highway in Pompano Beach. Join Big O and Alex Donno for the live pregame, halftime, and postgame shows while we watch the games. Enjoy meticulously brewed beer on site, delicious artisanal pizzas, live music, and giveaways. So, the new home for all InterMiami road games is at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company at the Pompano City Mall, where they'll feature all the InterMiami games. Follow them on Twitter at Dangerous Minds B and Facebook and Instagram at Dangerous Minds Brewing, and visit them at dangerousmindsbrewing.com.
When you're looking for curtains and blinds to create a space of your own, look no further than Bandalux. Bandalux can tailor your space to your needs. Create the atmosphere and ambiance you desire. We invite you to discover it at Bandalux.com. Explore our new solar control systems, range of sustainable fabrics, and energy-efficient solutions that can improve your well-being and quality of life. Witness Bandalux Beauty. Go to Bandalux.com or follow them on Instagram at Bandalux_official. For a personal experience, A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie and Sunrise is an official Benelux partner.
When protecting your family is your priority, there's nothing more important than the roof above the people you love. At Onside Radio, we recommend Chase Roofing and Contracting. At chaseroofing.com, they care about the customer. Chase Roofing provides reliable roof installation and repair without the destruction to our environment. Chase Roofing is powered by Tamara, who is owner and operated for 18 years. Chaseroofing.com is Google top rated and a AAA standing with the Better Business Bureau. Open 24/7. Call them today. Trust chaseroofing.com to fortify and protect what's most important to you, your family. If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your InterMiami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where InterMiami and all Miami sports fans shop.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
4 o'clock hour here on Man of the Match on Onside Radio, taking you up until 6 o'clock. Going to bring on in a moment here our pal Sean Stanley, who does an awesome job holding down pro wrestling here on Onside Radio. He hosts the Squared Circle Digest. I had such a good laugh this afternoon because I just learned about this today. This event happened on Sunday night, but so at WrestleMania Backlash on Sunday, zombies were worked into the event. And I see all these pro wrestling fans melting down and losing their goddamn minds about there being zombies in the WWE because, like, oh, zombies aren't realistic enough. Hold on. Zombies aren't realistic enough. You realize that pro wrestling is performance art. you understand the whole thing isn't real. And I'm not saying that to shit on pro wrestling. I enjoy pro wrestling. I don't have the passion for it that I had in the 90s. I was all in the 90s. But it's like everybody who watches that sport knows they're watching predetermined matches and they're watching performance art. But like all of a sudden, oh, no. You can't introduce zombies into it. So you got to listen. This is one of the most unbelievable things I've ever heard. This is from Busted Open on Sirius XM, their pro wrestling show. And this, my man from Busted Open is like this is where he draws the line now. Like he already watches a sport that isn't actually real, but he draws the line apparently at zombies. Listen to this.
Anymore. I deserve better than what they put in that ring during that match between Damian Priest, who just came up from NXT, and I think is a future superstar. The Miz, who's a former world champion, deserves more than pretending to get eaten by zombies in a ring. Everybody loves to bring up the Shockmaster. Everybody loves bringing up RoboCop. Everybody loves to bring up David Arquette. Well, guess what? WCW is dead. Why? Because of those instances. And 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65 years from now, people are going to be talking about that fucking that I had to pay to watch at WrestleMania Backlash, where fucking zombies are attacking the wrestlers, and Adnan Burke is explaining to me what a zombie is. I don't have to take that.
Oh my God,
so you know what I did? I turned it off. I turned it off. Do you love pro wrestling?
I love pro wrestling, David.
Vince McMahon doesn't. Vince McMahon doesn't. No, he fucking hates pro
Yes, he
wrestling.
does.
He hates it. He hates
Okay,
it.
you can cut it off right there. Oh my god. So like, I guess if you want to find the line for wrestling fans, I turned it off. Zombie. Sean Stanley. We got to bring on our resident pro wrestling expert, Sean Stanley. Did you turn it off during WrestleMania Backlash when the zombies came out?
I turned it off. I turned it off. I turned it off. Yes, I did. No, I mean, you know, it's hilarious how this has actually picked up steam from there. On Sunday, there was a few little rumblings. Monday, it picked up a lot of steam, and now today, it's on fire.
Yeah. Is this and he referenced something? Some of his references went over my head, but he mentioned because I was big into wrestling in the 90s, and he mentioned David Arquette, and I remember what happened there. Like in the late 90s, there like the WCW had a movie that came out, like a pro wrestling themed comedy movie, Ready to Rumble, right? And David Arquette was the star of that movie. So to promote the movie, they made David Arquette a wrestler for like a month, and he won the world title, which was considered a huge disgrace and an embarrassment, and it was one of like the low points in pro wrestling. Where do the zombies rank compared to that, Sean? Are the zombies worse or not as bad as David Arquette winning a world championship?
See, I don't think it's as bad because it's not that he won a world championship, but he won one of the top two heavyweight championships at the time because you had two companies, WWE and WCW, and then your heavyweight champion, the face of your company, is David Arquette. So to me, that's a lot worse than this. I mean, this again, you know, I was kind of trying to go back because when I was at the stadium doing the broadcast, so I didn't get home in time to see the beginning of this. And what had happened was Dave Bautista at the very beginning narrates the beginning of the broadcast. He does the whole thing, and basically his new movie, or well, actually it's Zack Snyder's new movie, Army of the Dead, which he stars in, was basically the lead sponsor for the pay-per-view.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. So it was like a tie-in promo.
Yes, and I think it's just a promo that just went way bad. Because I went back to even watch Dave Bautista before the show started. He said, "Wishing good luck to all WWE superstars competing tonight at WrestleMania Backlash. Sorry I couldn't make it, but some of my friends will."
Oh no! So
this is already in motion before. You know, this just turned into something that, and again, I think Vince McMahon has this idea, and he's done this before. If you remember the first ECW, Alex, I don't know if you remember, when WWE rebranded ECW, their first match, they brought out a zombie.
Oh, no, I don't remember that. Wow.
It was a guy wrestled dressed as a zombie. He was in the first match of the ECW show on the WWE brand. So, you know, and then I saw some news today that, maybe Vince didn't know about it. Maybe they snuck it by Vince. Maybe Vince knows everything that's going to go out there. I mean, there's nothing that doesn't get by him. Did he think maybe it was going to go this bad? Probably not. But at the same time, knowing Vince McMahon, he's probably sitting there saying, hey, they're still talking about it today. And there's not been a lot of talk about WWE's product lately that's been good, other than firings and people getting their stuff in garbage bags.
What was that about, people getting their stuff in garbage bags? I don't know that story.
They had some releases of the company, and they got their belongings, their trunks, their ring attire and everything in garbage bags with a tape on their name that said, you know, like Mickey James was the one that took the picture and sent it out, and then a lot came out after that. That's been a procedure that's been a practice that's been going on for a while inside WWE. So then there were some firings off of that as well in the executive area.
Jeez, and I'm glad you brought clarity on the promo for the movie because, like, I was going to bring up to you because I can remember watching wrestling, like, way back in the day, like early 90s, because they used to work in some supernatural stuff because a lot of the stuff with The Undertaker and Kane, there was a lot of, like, supernatural stuff, and so I was kind of wondering, like, what's so different about zombies, but based on what you said, Sean, and correct me if I'm wrong, just to clarify this whole situation, what's really making people mad, the most mad about this, it's not just the zombies, it's the fact that this was a dopey promo for a movie, because then it looks like the WWE is, like, selling out.
I believe some of that is true, but also I believe, listen, it's pro wrestling, people. It's pro wrestling. You get what it is. It's entertainment.
Right.
If you go to a movie, and again, as you said, it's sports entertainment. So therefore, you go to watch it. You're there to get entertained. Was it entertaining? I thought it was funny as hell, honestly. When I sat there and watched it, I was like, this is hilarious. But the worst part about it is during that match, nothing to do with the zombies, thankfully, but Miz tore his ACL and finished the match on a torn ACL, so he's out for a little while.
Can you imagine? Wow. So you're telling me the Miz is finishing matches with a torn ACL, and my guy Victor Oladipo is missing games despite his X-rays and his MRIs were coming back negative. So pro wrestlers are a lot tougher than basketball players, apparently.
Hey, Triple H finished the match with a torn quad.
Oh, there you go. That's what Oladipo had surgery on. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Yep. No, again, it just depends on what you look at in pro wrestling. It's just I'm there for it to be entertaining. And the thing is now, again, I think a lot of people think WWE is going to go back to that cartoon era where it was Doink the Clown, it was the Goon who was the hockey guy.
Oh, that
you
was
had
so bad.
all those the wrestling dentist Isaac Yankem, which finally became Kane. But you had all these cartoony gimmicks. And I think that's kind of what they're worried this is going back to. But I don't think it's that. I just think it was a bad promotional idea gone wrong. And then now some news is coming out also about some of the guys that were in the Zombies outfits are, guys that are in developmental in WWE. And then also another alternate with CCW, another federation that's kind of linked to WWE. So they had their guys in the thing. So it's not like they just threw a bunch of guys dressed in a zombie outfit out there to do something.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And make sure you guys, you can get clarity like this, and it's why I had to bring Sean on. Because I would otherwise I would just be laughing at that ridiculous rant. But this is really good stuff. So make sure you guys tune in Saturdays, 9 a.m. to Square Circle Digest. Sean has pro wrestling fans covered every single week here on Onside Radio. Sean, I can't thank you enough for taking some time, man, and enjoy these great WWE pay-per-views that I'm hearing so much about.
I turned it off. I turned it off.
Love you, Sean. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Back at you, Donno.
That was fantastic. I mean, I love that dude from Busted Open. I got to look up because I want to credit the guy from Busted Open because I had his name and then I closed up the tab on my computer. I want to make sure I get this guy's name out there. Who hosts Busted Open Radio? Because that was funny. That was an unbelievably good rant. And I guess that's where he is. David LaGreca is his name. David LaGreca was the guy who was ranting and raving. And you know what? Listen, at the end of the day, Sean raised a good point. Pro wrestling, it's entertainment, sports entertainment. I refer to it as performance art, and I think that's accurate. Everybody who watches it knows it's not real. I remember one of the big things that drove me crazy when I was a kid, Alex. I don't know if you've ever been a pro wrestling fan. I was a big pro wrestling fan all through middle school and high school, and my father is a very serious, logical man. He was not up for that sort of nonsense, right? I would beg my father to take me to events when they'd come to town, and he would flat out say, no, I'm not taking. I had a buddy of mine who was into it, and his dad would take us when we were too young to drive to events and go to them ourselves. So, because my dad did not want any part of that whatsoever. And whenever he saw me watching the pro wrestling, when I'm 14, 15 years old, he would always say to me, what are you doing? It's fake. It's not real. So he was basically trying to debunk it for me. Why are you watching this? It's not real. And I would always tell him, we all know it's not real. I was on message boards on the internet. God, I was a loser. But I was on internet message boards back then where we would talk about pro wrestling. Everyone knows it's not real. So in knowing it's not real, I don't understand why they're getting so worked up about zombies, because it's not like they thought until Sunday, oh, we're watching a legitimate competitive sport. And, oh, my God, there's zombies. What the hell? Oh, my God, the illusion is ruined. It's so funny. Great stuff there from Sean Stanley. Hey, later on this hour, we'll talk some Heat basketball, and we'll talk a little Dolphins, get hyped for the Florida Panthers as well with Mike Cugno, sports anchor and reporter from CBS 4, is going to join us at 4:35. At 5:20, we're going to talk a little Florida Panthers with Jameson Olive from FloridaPanthers.com. Coming up next, wow. This just came into my Twitter timeline. Pro Football Focus has ranked all 32 projected starting quarterbacks in the NFL. They've ranked them from 1 to 32. No cheating. Where do you think they put Tua Tagovailoa? We will reveal when we come back here on Onside Radio. Hey, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m., Sean Stanley hosts the Square Circle Digest. Now wrestling fans have a place to call home as Sean covers the very colorful world of wrestling. Tune in every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on the home for sports fans worldwide, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
Big O, Tito is not allowed in the Boom Boom Room. Never seen Smokey and the Bandit. Never seen Top Gun. What's the matter with these kids? Look at that. Now you can't hang out with Salma, Paige, Sophia. See, now you can't hang out with the ladies because you have not seen Top Gun.
Yeah, I would just hope that, like I said, the Boom Boom Room is sanitized. I would hope.
Well, I don't know, but did you hear about the 81-person orgy?
No.
What is wrong with you?
The Onside Zone with Big O, only on OnsideRadio.com.
InterMiami CF fans, join us at our new home this season for all away games as we broadcast live at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company, 1901 North Federal Highway in Pompano Beach. Join Big O and Alex Donno for the live pregame, halftime, and postgame shows while we watch the games. Enjoy meticulously brewed beer on site, delicious artisanal pizzas, live music, and giveaways. So, the new home for all InterMiami road games is at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company at the Pompano City Mall, where they'll feature all the InterMiami games. Follow them on Twitter at Dangerous Minds B and Facebook and Instagram at Dangerous Minds Brewing, and visit them at dangerousmindsbrewing.com.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwart here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m. only on OnsideRadio.com.
Big O for M&S Air Conditioning. You know, air quality in your home and business is more important than ever. That's why you've got to call M&S Air Conditioning and let them install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit. Folks, it attracts, captures, and destroys biological contaminants to improve your air quality. With stellar customer service, answering your call from 7:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. For more info on high-efficiency air filters and their preventative maintenance plans, visit M&S Air Conditioning at ac-florida.com.
Fish fans, time to reel in the latest news in baseball with OnsideRadio.com's Marlins Minute. Here's Christian Chase.
The Marlins strolled into Los Angeles after splitting a 4-game series with the Diamondbacks, looking to prove their worth versus the defending World Series champions. They did lose the series, but they showed a lot of poise in their ability to go out and win the 3rd game of the series after losing the first 2. They won 3-2 on Sunday off the bat of a 3-run homer by Adam Duvall. The pitching looked great. Pablo Lopez didn't have his best stuff, but got his first win of the year, going 5 innings, allowing 2 runs. The bullpen looked dominant. Anthony Bass, Dylan Floro, Richard Blyer, Yimi Garcia were all great to shut the door versus the Dodgers. And with 3 key Marlins out in Starling Marte, Sixto Sanchez, and Eliezer Hernandez, this team is still only 3 games back in the NL East. They're poised to make a run, and with a week upcoming against 2 division rivals, you never know. If the Marlins can put things together, we could be seeing them in first place in the NL East in just a few days. So watch out for these upcoming series because they hold a lot of weight in the present and future value of this team.
Keep up with the latest on the Miami Marlins by subscribing on most platforms by searching Onside Radio.
ADHD.
It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Living with a condition can sometimes be a challenge. It may take years to accept a formal diagnosis, and it's not always easy to find the right treatment plan. Did you know that up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental health condition that also requires a comprehensive approach to treatment? ADHD guidelines were recently updated to reflect the need to screen for associated disorders. Be sure to talk with your child's doctor about proper screening and visit more2adhd.com for additional information. That's more2adhd.com. This message has been brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yo, in about 12 minutes, we're going to talk some South Florida sports, Heat, Dolphins, little Panthers with Mike Cugno from CBS 4. He does an awesome job, anchor and sports reporter on Channel 4. This is really cool. Barry Jackson just tweeted out a couple minutes ago. ESPN hired newly elected Hall of Famer and former Heat star Chris Bosh to make at least a dozen studio appearances throughout the postseason on various platforms. The Jump, likely SportsCenter, First Take, Get Up. All right, so that actually might make First Take tolerable if Chris Bosh is on that show. Same thing with Get Up. I mean, I love also, I get the irony that I complain so much about ESPN studio shows, and yet I watch pretty much every day. I mean, it is what it is, man. They're doing their jobs, I guess, right? Because Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman say some ridiculous things, but I'm still watching and I'm talking about it. At the end of the day, I think that's what they want. Let's go to the phones. Our friend Rick in Carroll City is on the line. What's up, Rick? Good afternoon.
Hey, Donald, how you doing today?
Doing really well, man. I'm doing a lot better knowing that there are zombies in pro wrestling. That really made my day.
That'll put you at ease right now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I turned it off. What's going on with you?
Brother, just hanging in there, enjoying life and getting ready to see what happens this summer. And got a nice finish here with the Panthers. Hopefully they'll finish well tonight. Get W. Hopefully the Heaters will be ready on Saturday, and, you know, on and on it goes. But I wanted to bring up one point regarding South Florida sports in general.
Sure.
I still think that this community at large is so guilty of not having all these sports, having all these franchises in town. Say what you want about the Marlins, but, man, they've been able to shake things up, and I was never a proponent of bringing in Derek and all that stuff. But look what they've done. They've impacted the community. They've impacted the culture of South Florida in terms of it being a winning culture, kind of mimicking what Pat Riley and company doing over there and with Mickey. But it's just such an exciting time to live in South Florida when all these positive things are going on. And it's just a breath of fresh air, Don. It really is.
I'm glad you brought that up, man, because it's a nice optimistic point to make, especially coming out of a time where, you know, the last 15, 16 months of people's lives have been really tough. And obviously a lot of people have been affected in deeper, more personal ways from the pandemic than others. But I think one thing we can all agree upon, you know, whether anybody listening got sick or had relatives who got sick, or if they came out of it unscathed, like I thankfully did, like no one very close to me was affected by it. I thank God for that every day. But no matter what everyone's experience was, for a few months we experienced no sports whatsoever, where the only thing to watch every week was a Michael Jordan documentary. That was the only thing we had going on. And then even since then, we've had limited attendance. We've had some empty stadiums or some like quarter full stadiums. And so it's really nice, like you're saying, to see the Dolphins entering a winning cycle. You know, I'm not saying I'm that bullish on the Heat to win a championship or anything, but that team is usually dependable that they're at least going to be competitive. The Florida Panthers have been awesome. The soccer team is coming on. The Marlins are exciting, and they're doing good stuff in the community. So you are 100% right, because we've been through it, and I'll throw some love to my Canes as well, because I think the Canes are doing some good things, even though people love to tear Manny Diaz to shreds and all that. It's a really good time, and it couldn't happen at a better time, because now that we're coming out of this pandemic and we're getting full stadiums again, to know that all of our teams are at least competitive, it really is a blessing, my friend.
We're on the right track, Donna. We're on the right winning track. One last thing to bring up.
Yeah.
When you look at specifically, you just mentioned Manny Diaz. At this stage, with all the freshmen that are coming in now, you've got a ton of kids that moved in on Sunday. They're starting the first semester of the summer. They're ready to go ahead and acclimate to this culture that Manny's built over there. Do you think, with ABC announcing today that they'll be playing Alabama at 3:30 on September 4th, do you think maybe, just maybe, there's going to be even more optimism in the weeks to come, the months to come, until we get to September 4th? Because I can see the fanfare just starting to blow up, especially with the winning aura we're having in our community right now. So I'm hoping that'll be a chain reaction, so to speak, there, Donna.
I hope so too, man. Thanks for the call, Rick. Yeah, and so we got the we did get the announcement today, and like some people took it as like a sign of disrespect to get the 3:30 p.m. game, but you have to understand Georgia and Clemson are playing that day as well, so that's going to be the night game. Miami versus Bama will be a 3:30 game. If nothing else, maybe taking on Alabama when the lights aren't on, not in a primetime game, might give Miami even more of an opportunity to sneak in and get the W. So I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful. I'm not going to say I'm optimistic, but I am hopeful. Well, here's something that I don't really like. So take a guess, Alex. Pro Football Focus has rated the projected NFL starting quarterbacks for next year 1 to 32. They've rated them 1 to 32. Where do you think they ranked our guy Tua Tagovailoa?
17th.
Way, way lower.
11th.
No, I mean like way higher, which would be, lower on the list, higher number.
28th.
29th, they rank him. So, according to Pro Football Focus, they think only 3 starting quarterbacks will have less success in 2021 than Tua. You know what? Fine. If they want to be this pessimistic, if the Sports Center, jabronis and the ESPN studio heads want to trash talk Tua, honestly, I think the only network that gives Tua any respect is NFL Network. Are they dumber or smarter than the others? Because it can't be both, okay? Like, if you watch Good Morning Football, Nate Burleson, I think he understands the game of football pretty well. And Nate Burleson is actually pretty high on Tua. Kyle Brandt, Pete Schrager, Kay Adams, she's awesome. They're actually pretty kind to Tua. They're nice about Tua. Everybody else, God, why is Tua even still playing if you listen to some of these analysts? They think only 3 quarterbacks are going to be worse than Tua this year. They have Tua ranked number 12. We'll tell you who those are in a second, but they've got Tua ranked number 29 heading into next year. They say it's hard to adjust to the speed of the game as a rookie, especially when you don't know when you're going to be pulled for a savvy veteran. Tua has an opportunity this year to take control of the offense and show he belongs. The Dolphins continue to make solid roster moves through trades, free agency, and the draft to surround their young quarterback with weapons. Tua was exceptionally conservative last year with only 7 big-time throws all season. That's not the worst thing, but he also had 13 turnover-worthy plays. So really, in a paragraph, they said nothing. And they left it open, I think, for why Tua is going to be a lot better. Have you seen Tua lately, by the way? Tua looks pretty jacked. I mean, Tua actually gets to focus on his entire body, because a year ago at this time, he was only focusing on the hip and rehab. And if you don't think that took something away, a lot away from his preparation for the season to hit the ground running in the NFL, you're kidding yourself. I mean, the guy was rehabbing from a career-threatening hip injury and surgery, okay? He's on the other side of that now. He actually gets to focus on improving his decision-making, his footwork, his understanding of the playbook, and you've got offensive coordinators now with the Dolphins that he's familiar with, that he worked with last year. You've got more weapons for him. You drafted Jalen Waddle. You signed Will Fuller. You drafted the tight end out of Boston College. You've got Mike Gesicki there. You've got Devontae Parker there already. So, honestly, it's a slap in the face to rank Tua 29th out of 32 starting quarterbacks. Like, objectively, I don't know how you can come up that low. It's an insult. Every Dolphin fan, I'm not going to say you should be offended by it, because who gives a rat's ass what Pro Football Focus says, but you should be motivated by it. And I hope Tua's motivated by it. Not saying I expect Tua to read this, because, and actually I'd prefer if Tua doesn't read this. Like, I would prefer if my starting quarterback, like Tywin Lannister said, lions do not concern themselves with the opinions of sheep. I hope Tua doesn't spend even 30 seconds out of the day Googling himself and seeing what crap publications are writing about him. Like, I hope he's strictly focused on football, family, the actual important things for him in life, okay? So they rank Tua number 29. The only quarterbacks they have ranked below him are Zach Wilson, number 30 with the Jets, Jalen Hurts, 31 with Philadelphia, Drew Lock, 32 with the Denver Broncos. Then above Tua, Sam Darnold in Carolina at number 28. Cam Newton in New England, number 27. Well, listen, my eyes tell me Cam Newton should be in the 30s, but we'll see if he has a bounce-back year. Jared Goff, Lions, number 26. Well, his head coach is a Looney Tune. We'll see how that works out. Justin Fields, Chicago, number 25. Jameis Winston, 24. Actually, they have it. Wow, so they have Jameis Winston / Taysom Hill. So they think the combination of those two guys will be number 24. Carson Wentz in Indy, 23. Jimmy Garoppolo, San Francisco, number 22. I don't even know if Jimmy G should be ranked that high, quite frankly. Trevor Lawrence, number 21. Daniel Jones, Giants, number 20. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Washington football team, number 19. Oh, they got the closer ranked ahead of Tua. Oh, man. Joe Burrow, Bengals, number 18. Kyler Murray, Arizona, number 17. Big Ben Roethlisberger. Dude, that guy's trash now. I mean, listen, Big Ben, he's a Hall of Famer. Going to be a Hall of Famer. Tremendous quarterback in his day. He's so washed. He's not number 16. I'm sorry. Big Ben Roethlisberger is finished. Repeat after me. Finished. The guy is done. Number 16. Come on. Justin Herbert, number 15. Kirk Cousins, 14. Derek Carr, 13. That's too high for Derek Carr. Oh, Ryan Tannehill, number 12. Matthew Stafford, number 11. Baker Mayfield, 10. I don't mind that. I like Baker. Matt Ryan, 9. Lamar Jackson, 8. Dak Prescott, 7. Josh Allen, 6. Deshaun Watson, 5. Like, is he even going to ever play again? Russell Wilson, 4. Aaron Rodgers, 3. Tommy Brady, 2. Patrick Mahomes, 1. We're going to talk with Mike Cugno from CBS 4 when we come back. Hey, Onside Radio enters Kai's Corner with Kai Chen Chisholm every day from 10 a.m. to noon. Join Kai as he discusses the biggest stories in South Florida sports. Tune in every day, 10 a.m. to noon for Kai's Corner on the home for South Florida Sports Talk, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
When protecting your family is your priority, there's nothing more important than the roof above the people you love. At Onside Radio, we recommend Chase Roofing and Contracting. At chaseroofing.com, they care about the customer. Chase Roofing provides reliable roof installation and repair without the destruction to our environment. Chase Roofing is powered by Tamara, who is owner and operated for 18 years. chaseroofing.com is Google top rated and a AAA standing with the Better Business Bureau. Open 24/7. Call them today. Trust chaseroofing.com to fortify and protect what's most important to you, your family. If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your InterMiami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where InterMiami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Now that it's springtime, it's only getting hotter here in South Florida. Make sure your AC in your home or business is running smoothly by investing in a preventative maintenance plan from M&S Air Conditioning. And M&S is a Mitsubishi Diamond Elite contractor. When you purchase a new Mitsubishi electric mini split system, you'll get a 12-year warranty. Or install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit that captures and destroys biological contaminants to improve air quality. M&S Air Conditioning have been providing prompt, honest, and reliable service for over 30 years. Schedule service or call to get more info on our preventative maintenance plans. Call 954-421-3680 or visit ac-florida.com.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
Florida Panthers center Sam Bennett has been suspended for Game 2 of the Panthers Lightning series by the NHL's Department of Player Safety. The teams skate tonight and puck drops at 8. Tampa Bay leads the series 1-0. The Miami Heat have announced that they will increase capacity to 8,600 for their opening playoff series against the Milwaukee Bucks. Miami Marlins open a series with the Philadelphia Phillies tonight. First pitch is at 7:05. InterMiami's next match is away at Chicago Fire FC Saturday night at 6 p.m. And you're listening to South Florida's only locally owned sports talk station. And coming up is more Man of the Match with Alex Donno right here at OnsideRadio.com.
Riddle me this. With all this sizzling meat and crunchy veggies nestled between toasty flatbread, who should get credit for Papa John's new papadilla? The person who invented pizza or the person who invented folding? Well, whoever it is, a tip of the tongue hat to you, sir or madam. Get a new papadilla, 4 flavors, just $6 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, better than a sandwich. Papa John's.
My daughter Brinley is here at St. Jude. Coming here was literally life or death, and it was so scary. But St. Jude is fighting for one goal, like this one mission, life. And that gave us hope. We haven't received a single bill from St. Jude, so I really can just focus on what's best for Brinley.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
We got a must-win for the Florida Panthers tonight. We got the Heat opening things up with the Bucks on Saturday. So much going on in the South Florida sports scene. Dolphins, OTAs. Mike Cugno from CBS Sports joins us. CBS 4, I should say, does an awesome job. Sports anchor and reporter for CBS 4. Mike, good afternoon, man. How you been?
I'm good, Donno. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. I was just my blood pressure went up last segment because I was looking through this Pro Football Focus. They ranked on PFF 32 projected NFL starting quarterbacks. They ranked them 1 to 32 heading into next year. They've got Tua Tagovailoa ranked number 29. So according to Pro Football Focus, there's only going to be 3 quarterbacks next year who will have less success than Tua. Look, at this point, Mike, do you just start to kind of laugh at all the national negativity? Because, like, listen, I get it. Tua, he didn't set the record books on fire last year, but if people can't understand, the weapons around him improving and him not having to worry about rehabbing from hip surgery this year, like, I don't know what to tell people. Like, how much do you think Tua is going to improve this year?
Well, that's the thing. Like, not to say I agree with that ranking, but to be honest, Tua hasn't done that much to prove, he should be somewhere in the top 20 at the moment, but that doesn't mean that won't change.
Right.
Like at least going in now, I think the expectations are a little bit more fair than they were last year. Because last year when he comes in as a starter, it was at a time when Ryan Fitzpatrick was playing well, the team was playing well. It kind of, shocked everybody that they gave two of the keys to the car. And then you factor in all that other stuff, not having the training camps, not having a true off season, coming off the hip surgery, and too much was probably expected of him coming into that situation. So I'm good with expectations being tampered down a little bit for him. And I think this is actually going to serve him better because, not all eyes may be on him and expecting him to light up the world. Now he can actually grow in an offense. So quite honestly, I don't hate it.
Are you a big believer, Mike, in Myles Gaskin, Salvon Ahmed, and the running back core, or do you think the Dolphins should have done more in either the draft or free agency to address that position?
I would have loved for them to have gotten someone in the second round, like Javonte Williams from UNC. To me, I think that would have been a really, really good fit for the Dolphins. It did not work out. Clearly, the Broncos had their sights set on him. I think in this league, you're either one of two teams. You're either a running back by committee team or you're not. And I think Miami is just going to have to be one of those running back by committee teams just to get it done. I think Gaskin is a good player. I think Ahmed's a good player. But I think they're too similar of a player. There isn't no true change of pace between the two guys. And I think that's where maybe the offense will be a little deficient. So that's why I was hoping they would go up and grab someone. But now, you know what? It may just be more on Tua's shoulders to get it done offensively. And hopefully with the addition of Waddle and Fuller and some of these guys that they'll be able to have an offense that's just a little bit more exciting than it was last year.
The Miami Heat close out the regular season, which was a weird, difficult regular season when you think about all the injuries and, all the COVID problems early on. With that said, I'm not making excuses because that team frustrated me plenty during the year. But certainly I'm thankful they didn't go down to the dreaded play-in, that at least they stayed in the top six. But how optimistic or pessimistic are you about this matchup with the Milwaukee Bucks, Mike? Because even though this is a team the Heat knocked out last year, I think the Bucks have gotten better, and I'm not expecting to get through this series. What do you think?
Yeah, so if you asked me a week ago how far the Heat would have gotten, I said, I could see them winning, getting through the first round, maybe even getting through the second round. And that was because where they were at the time at 5. I was thinking maybe they could get to the 4 or 5 seed and have a little success against either the Hawks or the Knicks, then move on, and then you kind of got your footing again. And then you may have seen a playoff team like we saw a year ago in the bubble where all of a sudden no one wants to face the Heat again. Getting the Bucks or getting the Nets in that first round was kind of, I don't want to say nightmare scenario, but not the scenario you probably wanted going into the postseason, because these are two teams that were very different than they were from a year ago. So the Bucks getting through Holiday, being a little hungrier, being a little bit more experienced in the postseason. This isn't a great matchup for the Heat. The bench has to come up with some scoring for them to be successful, whether that's Dreager, whether that's Tyler Hero finding their stroke. I like what Kendrick Nunn's been doing, but the Bucks, this is going to be as tough as a first-round series the Heat have gone through. And then after that, what is it? It's Nets or Philly in the second round, I believe. So this is not the same playoff run Miami, went through in the bubble. This is going to be a lot more difficult. Can the Heat beat the Bucks? I absolutely believe they do. They haven't played with Jimmy Butler against Milwaukee. It's a completely different team when Butler is in the lineup, and he doesn't go down easy. So, can the Heat win? Yes. Is this going to be a 5-game series? Absolutely not. At least the Heat winning in 5. I think this is going to – if the Heat win, it's going to go 6 or 7.
Do you think Pat Riley regrets the Victor Oladipo acquisition, or is that just one of those things where he would say, hey, we couldn't have predicted what happened? Because and also the second parter to that would be, is there any chance Oladipo's back next year? I would say buyer beware, but yeah, I have heard some folks say that if they can get him at a big discount, maybe they bring him back for a new deal. What do you think is going to happen there?
So, yeah, I mean, if you can get him discounted, and obviously the injury probably helps the Heat's case for that price tag, right? You know, they come to him and be like, look, you are absolutely injury prone. I mean, you were here for 4 games and, you know, and we lost you for the season after trading mid-season for you. So yeah, if they could get him discounted and they can't get another big free agent, I have no problem going after Victor Oladipo again. I think when healthy, he's a really good player and something the Heat kind of like, a defensive-minded guy who can kind of create offense. So I had no problem, and I had no problem with them going after him and getting it, because what did they give up in the end, right? Kelly Olynyk.
Right.
You know, I don't think there's any buyer's remorse. I don't think there's any regret for what the Heat did to get him. In fact, I think maybe if you look at the end of the year, you know, it's kind of a freak thing that he gets hurt. I think if you look at the end of the year and you didn't make any sort of moves, you would have regretted that, because quite frankly, everyone in the East who's sitting at the top made a move and you didn't. You didn't change from a year ago. Everybody else changed so they could beat you, and they got better. Drew Holiday in Milwaukee, getting Harden in Brooklyn. Like, these are teams that are going after it. You have to go after it. And you know Pat Riley likes going after it. So I have no problem with them going after Victor Oladipo and hoping it panned out. Because had it panned out, you know, had he been healthy, we might be having a total different conversation about this Bucs series right now.
That's a great point. Mike Cugno joins us, sports anchor and reporter from CBS4. Florida Panthers have Game 2 against the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight. Coach Quenneville, he's going with Chris Dreager, not Sergei Bobrovsky in net. Do you think he's making the right decision there?
Yeah, I think he is. And you're following the flow of how the season went, right? You give Bob one game, you give kind of Dreager another. Also, this kind of gives you, because I know the contract situation with Bob kind of puts everything in an awkward spot. But by starting Bob Game 1, you can sort of say, hey, if he didn't have it, he didn't have it. So we'll go with Dreager now. Now if Dreager's hot, now you just stick with the hot hand, right? Had you benched Bob and for Game 1 and Dreager went out there and stunk up the joint, now you've got Dreager who could be in a mentally damaged position because his first NHL playoff game didn't go well, and now you've got Bob who thought, you know, oh my God, I just got benched and here I am coming in Game 2. So, you know, goalies are fascinating creatures. It's a mental position. It really is. And so I thought they played it the right way. And I think from here on out, it's hot hand gets the start.
Do you have a prediction for tonight, Mike? Because I've said it and I stand by it. If the Panthers don't win tonight, the series is over. They're not coming back down 0-2 against this Lightning team.
Hockey's a weird sport. I don't think 0-2 is a death sentence. I think against this team, it's going to be really difficult, especially now that you're going on the road to Tampa, having lost 2 at home. I don't think it's a death sentence for this team. I think the Panthers get the win, and I think what ends up happening is they play smart. I think the fun thing about the physical hockey is that it's cool to watch, right? And it's good aesthetically on your TV or whether you're in the arena. The only problem with that is physical hockey leads to penalties, and if you're not prepared and ready to be on your A game on the penalty kill, what are you doing? You know, so I think today they kind of settle it down. Of course, they can't afford to lose anyone else after losing Bennett to the 1-game suspension, which is a whole other story in itself of whatever the heck the NHL is doing there. Yeah, I think the Panthers can come out and get it tonight. They just have to play smart.
By the way, before I let you run, I have to ask you, because I noticed on your Twitter account that you had the privilege of being next to, on the highway, the Spider-Man dude. I've totally seen that guy before, Mike. Yes, I have. It was a year or 2 ago. I'm not sure which highway you were on. I was either on I-95 or the Palmetto when I saw this dude. And just to paint the picture here, so Mike Cugno sent out a little video. You were next to, on the highway, this dude who has, like, I think it's like a converted former police car that's painted all up, you know, red and blue, Spider-Man logos all over it. And then the guy driving the freaking car is fully dressed up like Spider-Man. I have been in that same spot, Mike, where I drove past this guy on the highway. This happened to be a year or 2 ago, and I brought it up on a show. And then people, and I'm not sure what the people responding to your tweet all told you, but apparently this guy, like, I think he does, like, a lot of, like, appearances, like, for kids and stuff. I think he does some charity work. I want to say they call him the Hialeah Spider-Man. Like, this is like a known South Florida commodity, and it's like this guy's all over town, and it's like a big coincidence when, just like me, you were right next to the Hialeah Spider-Man. What was your reaction when you saw this dude driving down the highway?
So the first thing I noticed about him was actually the pictures on the car, which were Tom Holland and all the other, and Tobey Maguire, like all the guys who have played Spider-Man. He had pictures of them all over the car, like these little headshots. I was like, what is this? And then I noticed, it's like the red and blue stuff, the license plate, I think says Spidey 4. Yes. And then you pull up next to him, and he is fully decked out driving as Spider-Man.
Look, he doesn't even take the mask off to drive. He's a weirdo.
Yeah. And quite honestly, it's still probably not the top 5 weirdest things I've seen on the Palmetto. But it was just so funny looking. It was. I'd never seen him before, never heard of him. Some people tweeted at me, said they've seen him, parked around town and whatnot. But yeah, that's definitely one for the, the only in Dade accounts out there. That's definitely something you probably only see here in Miami.
It's crazy. I really when I saw that on your timeline, I really got a kick out of it because I was in exactly the same spot. I think it was probably 2 years ago because like the whole, because it was definitely, I think it was before the pandemic, which like the last 15 months have been like a black hole for time. So it was like a couple years ago, I happened to drive, and I think I was also on the Palmetto like you were. I drove by the same exact car, and I tripped out the same way you did. And everyone should follow Mike Cunio CBS4 on Twitter. And I also retweeted that tweet from Mike of the, I think they call him the Hialeah Spider-Man is what I was told. So that's pretty ridiculous, man. Hey, I thank you, Mike, for your time as always. So everyone follow him on Twitter, Mike Cunio CBS4. Watch him on Channel 4 here in South Florida. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you, Donno. Always a pleasure being on, man. Thank you.
Always. Really, really good stuff. 844-416-8123. We'll wrap up the 4 o'clock hour when we come back here on Onside Radio. Hey, every Saturday at 11 a.m., soccer fans can connect with Austin Robillard and Red Card Radio. From the Premiership to the MLS, catch up with your favorite team, including our very own InterMiami CF. Listen to Red Card Radio every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. with Austin Robillard exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Join the InterMiami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwart here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., only on OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
Hey, Big O, what's going on? Listen, I just was telling your guy that answered the phone, Alex, it's just a pleasure, man, to get out of work and get in your car and be able to put on the radio and hear South Florida sports and not have to listen to some bull crap about another team from another state that you can give to a rat's ass about and sit there and have to go through all this other bull crap talk to, again, never hear them talk about your team once or twice in 20 hours. It's just an honor, and I wanted to thank you, man, for starting this thing up, man. It's balls to the walls. I love it.
Onside Zone with a Big O from 12 noon to 3 p.m. every weekday on OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
Can I get a captain?
Captain in what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can hear you.
Captain and Ginger. He was a captain and Ginger. Captain and Ginger. He was a captain and Ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yo, huge thanks to Mike Cugno for joining us. Alex Aguirre, have you ever seen that Hialeah Spider-Man? Like, I don't know. Like, I tried to describe it as best I could on the radio.
Never.
So, dude, it's crazy. If you ever do you ever drive on the Palmetto? I'm guessing where you live, you probably do a lot.
Yeah, not a lot, but once in a while, yeah. But I use the 836 more. But
I got you.
Palmetto, yeah. I'm very aware of the craziness of the Palmetto.
So, and you know what? Mike Cugno was right to say the Spider-Man guy, not the weirdest thing he's seen on the Palmetto. Same here, dude. I can remember so many times, like, you drive down the Palmetto, there's like random office chairs in the middle of the road. Like, I can remember once traffic was like slowed because there was a king-size mattress like just laying in the middle of the Palmetto. I've seen some crazy shit in my day on the 826, but I have driven past that Spider-Man. And just like Mike did, I took a quick video of it or a photo, and I tweeted it out. This was, I think, between a year and a half, 2 years ago. And a bunch of people told me, yeah, we've seen this guy around town. He's probably a little bit creepy because you would have to be creepy to commit that much to the Spider-Man gimmick. But this guy, like, I think he does some good charity stuff. Like, he'll show up to children's hospitals and stuff, which is really cool. But yeah, that this is like the Hialeah Spider-Man, and this guy, like, he's full gimmick. His car is red and blue with Spider-Man paint jobs and everything, and he actually wears the full suit, and he wears it when he's driving around. He's the Hialeah Spider-Man. It's crazy. 5 o'clock hour coming up. This might be the worst idea Mark Richt has ever had. We will explain his vision for the college football playoff when we come back. Hey, Florida Panthers fans have a place to call home. Every Saturday morning is Cats insider David Dwork hosts Chirping the Cats Radio every Saturday at 10 a.m. Onside Radio is committed to all sports, and Panthers fans can now connect every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. with David Dwork on the home for Panthers fans worldwide, onsideradio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
When you want a perfectly straight smile without braces, you can count on MoodyAsDental.com. A stunning smile is within reach. Learn more about Invisalign. Find out why so many trust the Moody Ass family. Dr. Moody Ass is an inventor and has several patents on innovative surgical instruments that are used around the world. Experience a family environment and trust on a worldwide level. From implants to crowns to a beautiful Invisalign smile. Call 305-821-0231. That's 305-821-0231. Or go to the website at MoodyAsDental.com.
Welcome back to Miami Sports Music for the fans. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the Radio.net app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
Hey, it's Toast, and no doubt last year hurricane season was one of the craziest we've ever seen. Well, Noah's saying once again, going to be another active season, so you need to call B&T Windows and Doors today and get PGT custom windows and doors installed like I did so that you are fully protected. Listen, there's no better peace of mind than PGT custom windows and doors when you're in the cone of death for a Category 5 storm. Call B&T Windows and Doors today to get set up. 954-233-0126. That's 954-233-0126.
Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnsideRadio.com. Every week, keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports. And when news breaks, catch the EJDConstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the flagship station of InterMiami CF, OnsideRadio.com. Follow us on social media at Onside Radio. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Oh, by the way, here is a late submission for Terrible Take Tuesday. And Alex, an hour and a half ago, we're doing Terrible Take Tuesday, and I went out of my way to mention I didn't have any bad food takes today, right? Like, for some reason, just nothing in the last couple days had really caught my eye as being a terrible food take. We got one. I retweeted this. So anyone, if you follow me on Twitter, at Alex Donno, Donno spelled D-O-N-N-O, at Alex Donno on Twitter, this is one of the most offensive things I've ever seen, okay? And I've listened to an entire Insane Clown Posse album, and yet somehow this is even more offensive. So, a Twitter account called Sweetie's Food Tester tweeted this out. It's a photo of what looks like an incredibly disgusting sandwich, and it's described as fish fillet, and there's cheese on this, by the way. So a fish fillet with cheese on it, plus cookies and cream ice cream. And then she adds, it's a Mississippi thang. Dude, I want to vomit. I'm looking at this photo right now. It's a woman holding a sandwich that's partially eaten, by the way. So some brave soul actually took a bite of this, which is horrific. But it's a partly eaten sandwich. Fish fillet with cheese and cookies and cream ice cream on the sandwich. This is the single most offensive thing I've seen in my entire life. And I write the caption, I no longer recognize Mississippi as a state. If that's what they have going on up there in Mississippi, I don't want to be a part of that, my friends. This is incredibly gross. You hear stories like this. I can remember, I've got some very distant relatives who live in Iowa. That's a different sort of state. I've never actually been there. I've got some distant relatives who live there, but my sister and her husband went there once because they were doing like a cross-country all-around America road trip thing, and they actually stopped and had dinner at the farm of my distant relatives in Iowa. And they said one of the courses in this meal, it's like, how if you're eating dinner and someone serves you salad, you're expecting, some combination of lettuce, being the primary ingredient in a salad, maybe some carrots, maybe some tomatoes, maybe some cucumber in there. You're expecting some sort of a veggie medley, right? So this was actually, and this is apparently a semi-common thing in Iowa because I looked this up. So my sister and her husband, my brother-in-law, are like over at dinner with our distant relatives. They're serving them, a home-cooked meal. I'm sure they were very appreciative of the home-cooked meal. And they're telling them, okay, we've got the salad coming up. And this is not dessert. Like, this is something that they were eating, like, right before they were eating steak and potatoes or whatever it was. And they actually serve them what they call a salad in Iowa. It's like a giant bowl of chopped up Oreo cookies in Cool Whip. That's a cookie salad. And it's like, you know what? I could do that for dessert. Like, if you were to say, hey, for dessert, I'm giving you chopped up Oreos in Cool Whip, I'd say, you know what? I'm game for that. But you're going to serve that to me in a salad bowl right before I'm eating steak and potatoes. We have a problem, okay? Like, apparently that's a common thing there. So to hear about the famous Iowa cookie salad, and apparently in Mississippi, they're eating fish fillet sandwiches with cookies and cream ice cream on it. People who say Florida is crazy, I think they're a little bit harsh on Florida. Honestly, like, if you see what's going on in Mississippi and you see what's going on in Iowa, I think Florida gets a bad rap for no reason. Ray says, oh my God, Barf City. Joseph Rodriguez says, you eat that and you're definitely going to be dropping some Mississippi mud. Bingo! You won the comments today, Joseph. That was fantastic. And by the way, Joseph also says, I got to do this because I think I Googled it. I don't think I ever YouTubed it. He says, I searched Hialeah Spider-Man on YouTube, and there's some funny stuff there. I got to check that out. So this, and it's the guy. It's the guy Cunha saw on the Palmetto. It's the guy I once saw on the Palmetto. There's some crazy stuff going on with this Hialeah Spider-Man. I digress. So, yeah, we had a late submission to Terrible Take Tuesday. Anyone who puts cookies and cream ice cream on a fish fillet sandwich with cheese and cookies and cream ice cream and fish in the same bun, you should face a firing squad. Like, we got rid of, so I think we still have the death penalty in Florida. And I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of the death penalty because I think, I think a judge or a jury deciding who lives or dies, I'm not really, life imprisonment, whatever, I'm fine with it. I think the death penalty to me, I'm not a big fan of it in general, but when you're talking about putting cookies and cream ice cream on a filet of fish sandwich, honestly, firing squad. Like, I'm totally stoning. I'm totally cool with any form of capital punishment there. Tell me if you think this is a good idea. Our friend Mark Richt, who I like, I think Mark Richt takes a little too much shit. Mark Richt, he actually guided Miami to the best season we've had in a long time, that 10-win season, the victory over Notre Dame at Hard Rock Stadium, an Orange Bowl appearance. Like, I do have some gratitude for that, right? I know they didn't go all the way. They didn't win the bowl game. They didn't win a title that year or anything like that, but I owe Mark Richt a debt of gratitude because he gave me a lot of enjoyment that season, his team did. And also, he donated the first $1 million for the indoor practice facility, donated $1 million of his own money. That's a lot of money. I don't care who you are, $1 million, unless you're Elon Musk, I guess. $1 million is a lot of money. So I am more appreciative of Mark Richt than I think a lot of Hurricanes fans are. He's been, for the last few years, an analyst on ACC Network. Tell me if you think this is a good idea. So Mark Richt is proposing a 32-team college football playoff. We're talking football. I know basketball, they've got their 64-plus, whatever it is now, the NCAA tournament. In football, we've had a 4-team playoff for the last several years. We're talking about revolutionizing it by expanding it to 8 teams. Mark Richt wants to expand it to 32. Here's Rick's logic, okay? He told Dog Nation, so I guess he was saying this to a Georgia website, that with out-of-the-box thinking, a 32-team playoff could work. So how would it function? Rick explained. You would have to shorten the regular season, which would make some people crazy, Rick said. But if there was that type of 32-team playoff system, there would be a lot more revenue, he said, and that would lead to more revenue sharing across the board that would compensate for not having that extra game or two, he said. Rick said league championship games might or might not exist in the new format. Quote, you won't have the UCFs or the Cincinnatis, the undefeated or great group of 5 schools getting left out, he said. Somebody would cry about being number 33, but there's no way anybody could say the best team didn't win the national title. I'm all for expanding the playoff to make it bigger than 4. 32 is downright crazy for that sport. You can argue that 68 works in basketball because you get a few Cinderellas occasionally. You're not going to get Cinderellas like that in football, folks. If you were to expand the college football playoff to 32 teams, here's what you're doing. You're shortening everybody's regular season probably down to 8 or 9 games. So you're taking away regular season games, which for a lot of these schools would be more competitive, right? Because for some of these smaller conferences or even for mediocre teams in bigger conferences, you have more opportunity to win some of these regular season games. So you're shortening everybody's season by a few games to make a gigantic 32-team playoff. And then guess what? It's not going to get even interesting until you get to the quarterfinals, until you get to the round of 8. What do you think you're getting in the first 2 rounds, maybe 3 rounds of a 32-team college football playoff? You're getting squash matches. How do you seed it, right? If you go, I guess you'll do probably maybe 2 regions of 16 or 4 regions of 8, but inevitably if you're expanding the field that wide, you think about the teams that are going to be your top seeds, right? Teams like Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State are going to be the high seeds in that tournament. They're going to get matched up with in the first round, mediocre group of 5 schools, and the first 2 rounds are not going to be interesting whatsoever. They're going to be squash matches, right? 4 is not enough, I agree, because 4, you're always inevitably leaving out 1 or probably 2 teams from the Power 5, and I say probably 2 because usually, the SEC is going to get 2 teams in. Last year the ACC got 2 teams in, right? So that means there are going to be 2 conferences left out and group of 5 gets left out. So expand it to 8, I think you solve that problem. Like, you expand it to 8, you don't have to shorten the regular season. You can have your cake and eat it too. Like, you make the playoff big enough because, honestly, how many times do we really have the argument that there are 9 different teams that deserve a shot at a national championship? Like, it's not reasonable. Like, it's not a reasonable argument to say that there are 9 different teams that could win a title, right? You certainly can't argue that there are 33 different teams that could win a championship. Like, expanding it to 32, you know what that is? That's European Super League. That's just a shameless money grab. Because like Mark Rick said, yeah, okay, you expand it to 32. You've got this gigantic tournament, this gigantic playoff, so you sell a bigger TV package, you make more revenue because of that, but you're also hurting the sport. Like, 32 teams in football, it's not competitive. It's not that competitive between the best teams and the mediocre teams. Like, basketball is different. Basketball, you're going to get some Cinderella stories. In college football, the 32nd team in the country has 0.0 chance of even being competitive with the number 1 team in the country. It's not something we should even be thinking about. Like, 32, it's absurd. It is an absurd idea. We're talking about expanding this thing to 8. Like, some people are even saying expand it to 6. I think 8 is a good number. 32, it's bonkers. It's Looney Tunes. And I think if you take that much away from a regular season, you're destroying conference championships. Like, if you make the college football playoff 32 teams and you're shortening everybody's regular season probably to 8 games, then all of a sudden there's so few conference matchups being played. You're probably taking away conference title games for this expanded tournament. And then conference football is completely dead, and I do believe that should still mean something. Like, no, there's got to be a compromise. There's got to be a way to have our cake and eat it too. And 8 is great. 32, it's pure madness. It's absolute hysteria and madness. So no, I'm not a big fan of that idea. I want to get to today's roundtable discussion. Remember, in about 7 minutes, we're going to talk with Jameson Olive from FloridaPanthers.com. Going back to the NFL, Tuesday roundtable. All of our hosts weigh in on this. At the end of the day, Alex Aguirre is going to make a master cut posted in the podcast. In the offseason, several quarterbacks changed teams. Currently, there are issues with Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Deshaun Watson. Add the fact that John Gruden says one thing publicly, and privately he's rumored to be involved in several potential deals, including Derek Carr. Which one of these quarterbacks gets traded first and why? I think it's got to be Derek Carr, right? Because Gruden and the Raiders are going to be really aggressive into trying to improve their quarterback situation, and, the question is worded correctly. Like, Gruden is speaking out of both sides of his mouth. He's saying great things about Carr publicly, but privately he's trying to unload the guy. I think it's got to be Carr, because not only can I see Gruden being obsessed with getting a different quarterback in there, there's issues trading all of those other players mentioned, right? Russell Wilson, older quarterback, would take a lot of capital to move him. That situation's gotten really quiet. And at the end of the day, I don't see Russell Wilson going to war with the Seattle Seahawks the way that Deshaun Watson was trying to do in Houston and the way Aaron Rodgers is right now with Green Bay. So, does Russell end his career with Seattle? Maybe not, but I don't think he gets traded first out of that bunch. Deshaun Watson, how do you trade for that guy right now? Yeah, I don't care what Mike Florio says. I don't care that Mike Florio still talks about the Dolphins being a possible landing spot for Deshaun Watson. It's fantasy. It's pure fantasy. You know, the Dolphins, nothing substantive has ever really said the Dolphins are interested there, and that was before the law. Like, that was before we knew the guy could potentially be a predator, right? The Dolphins organization, you know, doesn't like to take on personalities like that and players with baggage like that. And they've shown you every bit of evidence that they are building around Tua Tagovailoa, and that's their concern, and that's their project right now. So, no, I don't think the Dolphins are acquiring Deshaun Watson, and, you know, teams that have been rumored to be interested in him, like Philadelphia and Carolina, like, you can't do anything anytime soon. Like, I know that Rich Eisen seems to think that there could be settlements imminent in these lawsuits. I'm not convinced because the lawyers were arguing again late in the week. Like, he thought, oh, it's gotten really quiet. That means the settlements are coming. But no, then the lawyers started arguing again, and they're throwing mud at each other in the news. I don't think we're that close to settlements there. I don't think Deshaun Watson can get moved until all this legal stuff gets cleared up. So take that off the table. And then Aaron Rodgers. You know, if Green Bay was going to trade Aaron Rodgers, they were dumb not to do it before the draft, right? Because you trade him before the draft, you got more leverage to get a bigger deal, and you know what draft picks you're locking in exchange for Aaron Rodgers. Because if you trade him now to Denver, guess what? Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver. He makes them much better. He gets them into the playoffs, and the draft pick you're getting is in the 20s, right? So, I mean, trading him before the playoff would be the right thing to do. I mean, do you force him into retirement? Maybe, but then he's not getting traded. So, Rodgers not getting traded anytime soon. Russell not getting traded anytime soon. Deshaun Watson not getting traded. By process of elimination, Derek Carr is your answer. That's the guy who's going to get traded first. We're going to talk some Florida Panthers with our very good friend, Jameson Olive, lead writer at FloridaPanthers.com and co-host of the Territory Talk podcast. He's going to join us after this here on Onside Radio. Hey, Miami Dolphins fans can count on the best coverage at OnsideRadio.com because every week, keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports and when news breaks. Catch the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can now watch Onside Radio daily by subscribing to our YouTube and Twitch channels. Search Onside Radio. Log on, subscribe, rate, and review Onside Radio on YouTube and Twitch. Find out why Big O has a face for radio. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's home for real sports talk.
If you're looking for a change from the everyday restaurant, then you need to get to Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach. Brats, Wiener Schnitzel, homemade potato pancakes, pretzels with mustard, and lots of German beer. Take their famous Boot Tour Challenge, and there's now outdoor seating available in their new beer garden with live music. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Checkers Old Munchin Restaurant or call them for reservations or pickup at 954-785-7565. So get over to 2209 East Atlantic Boulevard in Pompano Beach to Zagat-rated Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty, to protect, to serve, to help. They put themselves in harm's way for us. They come to the rescue at times when we need them most. First responders are making enormous personal sacrifices to keep showing up for us and fighting the good fight. Nearly 70% of all firefighters are volunteers. That means when they get injured or quarantined, they may not have a way to pay their rent or keep their family safe and fed. No matter who you are or where you live, when you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org and make a difference today.
You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Check this out. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, welcome back in to Man of the Match here on Onside Radio. Alex Donno taking you guys for another 40 minutes, broadcasting live here inside Drive Pink Stadium, home of InterMiami here in Fort Lauderdale. Hey, make sure you guys take advantage. If you're not aware, you can stream us live, watch, and chat with us on YouTube. So go to YouTube. By the way, David says Donno needs some entertainment during the commercials. Usually during the commercials, I'm having like heated discussions with Alex Aguirre. We got Tim in the building now. He's going to be running the Miami Sports Music Show coming up a little bit later. But maybe like I feel like we need to put something like on the screen maybe, or if you guys want me to like dance the Macarena or something during the commercials for YouTube, let me know. We'll figure something out because I don't know if I need the entertainment during the commercials, but I feel like you guys need some entertainment. I'm usually like Googling crypto prices during the commercials. I feel like, by the way, obviously Bitcoin has been very, very low since Elon Musk sabotaged, his tweets last week. It's always been like hovering right around like 42,600 at the lowest. I think it's in for a big, big boom, but we'll get more to that later. I want to get to the Florida Panthers tonight. We have more important things coming up, and our very good friend Jameson Olive from FloridaPanthers.com joins us. Jameson, good afternoon, sir. How you feeling before Game 2? You a little bit nervous? You excited? Because this, to me, Jameson, is a must-win game tonight.
I'm excited. I'm feeling good. It's not a must win, but it's pretty close. Obviously, you don't want to go down 0-2 in a best-of-7 series. But even though the Panthers didn't get the W in Game 1, I liked how they looked. I liked how things went down. And I think if they bring that same energy tonight, and if the fans bring that same energy tonight, which I expect they will, this team's going to be just fine in Game 2.
And by the way, I want to help provide a public service because I noticed you commented on this tweet from our pal George Richards, and it's a great point. George had tweeted out, hey, rubber rats hit the ice after goals and during fights on Sunday night. The Florida Panthers could get a delay of game penalty if it continues. It has happened before. And you commented, save the rats until the W, please. And I was wondering about that, Jameson, because obviously I remember going to games in the 90s when we'd throw rats on the ice after goals. I know the NHL didn't love it. So they do have the ability now to give out delay of game penalties. So we need to make sure that people know, save the rats until the win, because you don't want to penalize the team.
No, 100%, especially not against the Lightning, who are pretty much automatic on the power play.
Yeah.
Bring the rats, keep the rats in your seat, but save them for the W because there's a chance. I mean, the Panthers dealt with this back during the playoffs in 2016, and the league and the referees got really upset with them then. So it's fun. It's awesome. I want to see it. But also, if you save them for the end, there's just that many more rats on the ice. So, let's get, 9,000 rats on the ice after the win rather than a couple hundred in between plays.
So we got the news this morning that the starting goaltender tonight, it's going to be Chris Dreager. Bob got the start on Sunday. Coach Q is turning to Dreags today. Do you think it's the right call?
I think it is, just based on the fact that this is kind of what they've done all season. If Bob would have had a spectacular game, he would still be in there. Nonetheless, he had a good game. I don't really put that loss on him. I thought he was fine. But whenever they feel like they can, they switch to the other goaltender. It'd be the exact same way if Chris Dreager had the result that Bob had the other night. And that's the benefit of having two goaltenders. They've had this tandem all season long. They like both guys. And now they're going to see what Chris Dreager can do. It just so happens it's also his 27th birthday. So, nice birthday present for him. But the crazy thing is, this is actually the first playoff game that Chris Dreager started since his junior hockey days back in the WHL, so about 7 years ago. He never started a playoff game in the ECHL, and the AHL, and, of course, in the NHL. So a pretty wild night here for Chris Dreager.
That is great. I remember seeing that earlier today. I'd forgotten to mention on the show it's his birthday. So, I mean, Jameson, the headlines write itself, man. If he goes out there and, gets a big win and, I don't want to tempt the hockey gods, but maybe a shutout victory tonight, that would be perfect for the headlines being written tomorrow. You were right to mention coming out of Game 1, the Lightning lethal on the power play. They scored 3 power play goals out of 4 chances. They also scored a shorthanded goal, so special teams-wise, they were phenomenal. That does mean that, the Panthers, they look like the better team at even strength, so I'm sure that there is going to be, a lot of emphasis on staying out of the penalty box tonight. What were some of because obviously the loss is not good, but what were some of the encouraging things you saw on Sunday in Game 1?
Well, first, right off the bat, you mentioned it right there at 5-on-5. The Panthers did outscore the Lightning 3-1, and that basically is going to be the tale of the series. If the Panthers can stay out of the penalty box, they'll take care of business. They'll win the series. If they can't, the Lightning, now that they have Kucherov and Stamkos back, they're going to make you pay every time. So that's going to be the game-by-game challenge for these guys, and obviously they're talking about it. They talked about it this morning. They know what they have to do. Now they have to go out there and execute. So that's a big one right there, being the better team at 5-on-5. But a couple other things, Alexander Barkov looked like one of the best players in the world out there. He brought his A game. Even when he didn't, he did score a goal, but even when he wasn't scoring, he was making some insane plays out there with the puck on his stick. Jonathan Huberdeau, a spectacular third period. Owen Tippett, this is his first playoff. He's a rookie. I thought he had a really nice game as well when he was out there on the ice on that second line. So a lot of guys had great individual performances. Like I said, I think the Panthers honestly should have won that game. It was the the penalty kill in there and that cost them. So overall, I think 80% positive, 20% negative in that game for the Panthers.
Jameson Olive, lead writer at FloridaPanthers.com, joins us here on Onside Radio. Jameson, there's got to be some frustration with the Sam Bennett suspension, and it's not to say that that it's not deserved, but I just thought on the Lightning side there could have been some suspensions. There could have been a lot more than just Bennett. So the whole thing, to me, it's frustrating because it just kind of feels like they cherry-picked this one, and I think it's a little bit unfair towards the Panthers. How do you feel about all this?
I think it is as well. Like you said, no one's arguing that Sam Bennett, that hit wasn't bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
You watch it a million times, you go, oh, he probably shouldn't have done that. But it's not about that. Panthers fans are arguing that, there's just kind of a lack of equality in kind of the judgment there because, of course, Ryan McDonough had a really dangerous boarding hit on Anthony Duclair during the game. Even going back to the regular season, Andre Palat had a really dangerous boarding on Noah Chari. So there's been a lot of questionable incidents throughout this entire season series and now playoffs between the Panthers and Lightning that it really feels like the Panthers are the only ones getting dinged. So we'll see if that deters any more things tonight. But you got to feel the Panthers are a little upset with how that worked out.
And also, Jameson, and I know that they did this within the rules and they didn't bring any rules, but I've sent many strongly worded emails to Gary Bettman about this whole salary cap situation, how they can be stashing, Kucherov and Stamkos on the long-term injury report, and then they're over the cap in the playoffs. It's just one of those frustrating realities about the game. But on a serious note, talk a little bit about the impact that Kucherov made in Game 1 because he hadn't played in a really long time. He scores twice on the power play. The guy is an absolute sniper.
Yeah, the Stamkos part, you really can't dig him for that. He actually was, hurt there pretty late in the season. But the Kucherov thing, he's been skating for over a month. And I think at that point, they're coloring within the lines. They're playing by the rules. But at the same time, you go, do I feel great about this? I don't know. So that's kind of, you see that in a lot of national headlines right now. A lot of people writing about that, stating their opinions. But you see why it's a big deal because, when he is out there, he's exceptional on the power play. He had a pair of power play goals in the second period in Game 1. He was a complete, difference maker for these guys. But at the same time, at 5-on-5, I thought he was not invisible, but, a pretty average guy out there at 5-on-5. Yeah. So it all ties back into, once again, if you give him the power play time, Nikita Kucherov, a former MVP only a year ago, is going to take advantage.
Do you have a prediction for Game 2 tonight?
I'll go. I really do think the Panthers are feeding off this crowd, so I'm going to go. I'm going to go 3-1 Cats. I think they even it up.
Yes, I love that. And Jameson, no matter the outcome of the series, do you think this is going to be potentially a 7-gamer? Because I think between these two teams, it's going to continue to be physical. It's going to continue to be back and forth. I don't think anyone should be expecting like a 5 or a 4-game series here.
I think there's two options. Either go 7, and of course Game 7 will be back here at BB&T Center, so that would just be one of the most insane sporting events of all time, so that'd be great. Or the other option is that Chris Dreager comes in, locks it down, and just dominates the next 4 games, and the Panthers win in 5. So I'll take either 5 or 7 games. I don't think it's going 6.
Yeah, I would actually prefer the 5-game option. For as exciting as 7 games and a Game 7 at the BB&T Center would be, I don't know if my cardiac health can take that, man. So I will.
Yeah, for the blood pressure, let's hope for 5.
I will take the 5-game option. Awesome stuff here from Jameson Olive, lead writer at FloridaPanthers.com. And like I always mention, he does great pregame pieces as well. But I love the 5 takeaways piece that he does after the games, especially after Panthers victories. So listen, I'm looking forward to seeing hopefully a great outcome here tonight, Jameson. And let the be. Are you doing anything on the Twitch page these days as well? I'm sure this is obviously a busy week hockey-wise, but let people know what you have going on there too.
We're going to be doing a lot more in the offseason, twitch.tv/FLA Panthers. We'll be playing games with fans, trying out some new stuff. Katie Gauze, one of our broadcasters, always on there, as well as Doug Fleggins, our radio guy. So we'll be doing some fun stuff. But we actually, before this series started, we did a sim between the Panthers and the Lightning. Katie and Doug were on there calling all the action, and the Panthers actually won 7-6 in overtime. So obviously the score a bit inflated being a video game, but I felt like that was a good sign for this series, the fact they won the simulation.
I'll take it. Jamison Olive does an awesome job. Make sure you check out his work at FloridaPanthers.com, and make sure you follow him on Twitter at Jamison Coop. Jamison, thank you so much, man, and I'm pumped for the game tonight. I imagine you are as well. Enjoy every second of it, my friend.
Thanks, Donna.
I love it. Yeah, and listen, I've actually, during the show today, I've sent 2 more very strongly worded emails to Gary Bettman, and even I found his administrative assistant. I sent her a strongly worded email. I encourage her, please, personally by hand, print this out and deliver it to Mr. Bettman's office, that Nikita Kucherov is an ineligible player. He's over the salary cap. They stashed him very sneakily on that long-term injury report. They're over the salary cap. He should not be allowed to play. I gave Gary Bettman 2 options, and he's got to meet my demands. I've given him 2 options. You can either invalidate the entire series. Tampa Bay Lightning are forced to forfeit. Panthers advance automatically. That's the more harsh option. That was option A. Option B is Nikita Kucherov is no longer eligible for competition. So the Lightning can stay in the series. I think that's reasonable. The Lightning get to play out the rest of the series, but since Kucherov is no longer eligible, you also wipe his goals from Game 1 off the board, and so then the Panthers win 4-3. The Panthers have a 1-0 series lead now heading into tonight, so they can really put the hammer down with a dominant Game 2 victory, and Kucherov is ineligible to play. Those are the options I gave the commissioner, and he's got to meet one of those 2 demands unless he keeps ignoring me completely. So we'll find out which option he goes for. 844-416-8123 is how you get in. That's 844-416-8123 on the text line. You can also watch us live on YouTube. And if you're in there, if you're in the YouTube page right now, I want to send some shout-outs, by the way. We got Tony 2 times is on board. My man, fellow Scudetto champion. He's a big Interista like myself. Tito Benach checking in. Panthers by 2 goals tonight, Tito says. By the way, I'm so glad Tito is in because on the other side, I wanted to weigh in on a ridiculous scenario that Tito put on Twitter today. I don't know. I feel like Tito is lost without my guidance. Like, he's tweeting out some really weird stuff these days. David is on board. Joseph, Ray, Brooklyn Rob. Oh, and Brooklyn Rob keeps hammering me because every day I slander Juventus on Twitter, and Brooklyn Rob keeps going after me. Mike No Go Zones is on board. Rafa in Miami. Rosendo is in there. Bob S. So huge shout out to everybody on board, and make sure when you're in there on YouTube, you smash that like button. So we'll continue. I want to get to the ridiculous scenario brought up by Tito Benach on the other side. Hey, over the last 30 years, South Florida fans have always been able to count on one radio show that gives you the brutal honesty you need. Orlando Alzagari and the Onside Zone, daily from noon to 3 p.m., exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
The man of the match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for InterMiami football. OnsideRadio.com.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
She's kind of young, so I don't know. She may not be into Van Halen much. Let's see. Ruthie, good afternoon. Are you a Van Halen fan?
You know, I just had to Google Van Halen. I'm not going to lie to you. I just literally have it on my computer right now.
The Onside Zone with Big O. Weekdays 11 to 1 p.m. Only on OnsideRadio.com. Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
Florida Panthers center Sam Bennett has been suspended for Game 2 of the Panthers Lightning series by the NHL's Department of Player Safety. The team skates tonight. Puck drops at 8. Tampa Bay leads the series 1-0. The Miami Heat have announced that they will increase capacity to 8,600 for the opening playoff series versus the Bucks. The Miami Marlins open a series with Philadelphia Phillies tonight. First pitch is at 7:05. InterMiami's next match is away at Chicago Fire FC Saturday night at 6 p.m. You're listening to South Florida's only locally owned sports talk station, OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk.
When you're tired of watching the sun damage your furniture or raise your electric bill, it's time to do what we did here at OnsideRadio.com studio. Call A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie and Sunrise. A Shade Above Window Fashions has a great selection of blackout shades to choose from. We can almost create a complete blackout for your bedroom or media room. Call them at 954-434-4774. That's 954-434-4774. Love the space you live in. A Shade Above Window Fashion.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
We got Satan Mouse Productions in the chat as well. Welcome, Satan. So we're taking you up until 6 o'clock tonight here on Onside Radio. Our guy, Tito Benach, he's losing his goddamn mind, this kid. Tito, of course, used to work with us here at Onside Radio. We love Tito. He's doing big things now at CBS Sports. Tito, he put out a Twitter poll earlier today. Would you rather, he asks, get run over by a train or get run over by a truck? Bro, I would love to know the motivation. Tito, if you're still watching, listening in the YouTube chat, I would love for you to explain to me the genesis of what popped into your head to make you ask on Twitter if you would rather get run over by a train or get run over by a truck. I'll play along, okay? There's only one answer to that question. Of course, I'd rather get run over by a train than by a truck. It's simple maths. The train is infinitely heavier and it goes a lot faster than a truck. So much higher probability of an instantaneous death upon impact, which is what you would prefer out of those two scenarios, right? I mean, listen, I would rather not get hit by a train or by a truck if I'm completely honest. But if those are my only two choices, I'd much rather get run over by a train than by a truck. Heavier, faster. So you do the math. It's for sure, it's probably either way is instantaneous, but there's a higher probability that the train thing is going to be instant and you're not even going to know what happened. So I love it. And I appreciate Satan Mouse loving the show, bro. Keep it up. I appreciate that, my friend. You keep up the good work and the good fight as well. So I don't know. I'd love to know what inspired Tito. He says, genuine curiosity, both awful deaths, but different forms of death. Honestly, though, I wouldn't say that, though, like by death standards, there are many worse ways to go than that. Drowning, burning, like having to listen to Baby Shark for like 50 hours straight would probably be a worse way to go. I think that honestly there are a lot worse ways to go than that. Tony 2 times says either way, you're pink mist, aka road jelly, depending on the speeds. Only Tito can get us into a conversation like that, man. Only Tito can do that. 844-416-8123 is how you get us on the text line. That's 844-416-8123. So in case you were wondering about Game 1 between the Heat and Bucks, the Heat tweeted out earlier today, Game 1 of our first round United in Black playoff series will be played Saturday in Milwaukee. Time and broadcast info to be announced later. Also, a Heat tidbit that I saw today. There are rumors. Jake Fisher of Bleacher Report looked at free agents who might not necessarily grab the greatest attention, but still will be sought after by other teams. And he thinks there is an opportunity for Tim Hardaway Jr. to wind up in a Heat uniform. He says after thriving alongside Luka Doncic, Hardaway might score that payday from the Mavericks, he wrote, but if he does test the open market, keep an eye on the Heat, who have struggled to replace what Jay Crowder brought during their run to the 2020 NBA Finals. Victor Oladipo is no longer a candidate to land such a deal in the wake of his latest injury. Yeah, I never want to see Victor Oladipo in a Heat uniform ever again. I don't care if he's got a head cold. I don't care if he's got, a quad injury or an imaginary knee injury. I don't want to see this guy in a Heat uniform again. Hardaway, they write, has played 8 seasons in the NBA and is in his 3rd season with the Mavericks after coming to the team as part of the Kristaps Porzingis deal in 2019. As one of the top players in the league when it comes to the 6-man role, Hardaway has given the Mavericks a threat from beyond the arc over the past 2 years by hitting a rate of nearly 40% each season. The 29-year-old Hardaway is making $18.975 million this season and is in line for a bigger paycheck. Given the uncertainty over Oladipo next year, the Heat may see Hardaway as a better substitute. That doesn't do that much for me on the court, and part of it is because as a Miami Heat fan, I always have my sights set on whales, right? I'm always thinking about harpooning that next whale. But real talk, if Tim Hardaway Jr. could find his way onto the Miami Heat, I would damn near shed tears of joy. I love a great story. I was a huge fan of his pops when he was lighting it up for the Miami Heat back in the 1990s. So, yeah, listen, sentimentally, there would be something incredibly special about seeing the son of a Miami Heat legend, a man who's got his jersey, is hanging from the rafters at the soon-to-be FTX Arena, the American Airlines Arena, that, yeah, if Tim Hardaway Jr. could walk in Dad's footsteps and suit up for the Miami Heat, sentimentally, that would be magical. And we could do worse, okay? I think if you're talking about spending $20+ million on a player, I'd obviously like to set my sights a little bit higher than Tim Hardaway Jr., but to get Jr. here, to follow in Senior's legacy, I'm going to go to the arena for his first game. I'm going to cheer like crazy. To hear Mike Biamonte, like, think about this. When Mike Biamonte is doing his pregame intros and he yells out the name that he hasn't, yelled in over 20 years, Tim Hardaway, you telling me you're not going to get emotional, right? And unless you were born like a year ago, right? Or unless you've been a Heat fan, since the Big Three, you're a bandwagon jumper. Anybody who was a fan of that team through the 90s, if Tim Hardaway Jr. were to come down here and you hear Mike Biamonte say the name Tim Hardaway when he's doing the player intros, it would be absolute freaking magic. It would be absolute magic. So now people are in the chat. I love the YouTube chat, but it gets a mind of its own. Everyone's talking about deaths now, thanks to Tito, sadistic Tito Bonach. David writes, remember that scene from the first Final Destination? Character says drop dead and a vehicle hits and kills her. You could probably die from a truck hitting you depending on certain shit. Like, what are we doing, bros? What? I don't know if I like what the show has become today. By the way, they made way too many Final Destination movies. Like, what was the final Destination? Are they still making those? Is that like the Fast and the Furious where they're just going to keep going forever? Or like have they finished making Final Destinations? I've got a rule with sequels. Unless it's the most incredible franchise on the planet, if you haven't inspired me by the second or third movie, I'm out. I watched at least one too many Hangover movies. The original Hangover movie, I thought it was pretty brilliant, even though the movie was kind of ruined for me when someone pointed out it's basically the same movie as Dude, Where's My Car, just like 15 years later. So that killed it a little bit. But the first Hangover movie was awesome. The second Hangover movie was funny a few points, but pretty weak. The third Hangover was an hour and 45 minutes of my life I wish I could get back, right? I watched the original Final Destination, kind of a creative concept. Oh, this is really interesting. You can't cheat death. It's always going to find you. I watched the second Final Destination. The deaths got a little bit more ridiculous and crazier. Then I got through like the first 7 minutes of the third Final Destination. I just said, life is too short. Same thing with the Saw movies. They're making more of those now. You see that? They're doing like spin-offs of the Saw movies. How many of those did they make? 7, 8? The original Saw movie I thought was genius. I thought the original Saw, like you had no idea that the dude was like playing dead, spoiler alert, laying in the middle of the room the entire time. You know, I thought that was a really good psychological thriller. And then the second Saw movie was decent with Mark Wahlberg's brother, Donnie from New Kids on the Block. That was all right. Then they started making 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. And God, like, you know I hate communism, but capitalism ain't perfect either, my friends. Capitalism ain't perfect when we just keep printing money with all these sequels. Miami Sports Music writes in, and by the way, we got our guy, Stephen D., Miami Sports Music for the Fans, is coming up at 6 o'clock. He writes, 7 likes, 9 people watching. Let's go hit that like button. Absolutely, we got to hit that like button. He writes, Fast and Furious 30, Vin Diesel goes to the home. In Fast and Furious 30, Vin Diesel drives 7 miles an hour in the slow lane to the old folks' home. Vin Diesel at Fast and Furious 30, he's now 81 years old. He's retired. He can't see very well. He's got an emotional support animal, and he drives 4 miles per hour. He drives 1 mile per hour through the school zone, by the way. That's going to be the Fast and Furious Fast 50, bunch of wheelchair races, Tony 2 times writes. Oh, my God. All right, we'll wrap up this episode of Man of the Match when we come back, and we're going to bring in our guy, Stephen D. from Miami Sports Music for the crossover when we return here on Onside Radio. Hey, the fans support the teams, buy the jerseys and the tickets, but they never get the love they deserve on sports radio. Onside Radio is changing that with Miami Sports Music for the fans. It's the show driven by Stephen D., representing Miami sports fans around the globe. Tune in every night from 6 to 7 p.m. as Steve and fans around the world drive to talk about your favorite South Florida sports team. OnsideRadio.com is dedicated to the Miami sports fan.
The Man of the Match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for InterMiami football. OnsideRadio.com.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM. Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
When you're looking for curtains and blinds to create a space of your own, look no further than Bandalux. Bandalux can tailor your space to your needs. Create the atmosphere and ambiance you desire. We invite you to discover it at Bandalux.com. Explore our new solar control systems, range of sustainable fabrics, and energy-efficient solutions that can improve your well-being and quality of life. Witness Bandalux Beauty. Go to Bandalux.com or follow them on Instagram at Bandalux_official. For a personal experience, A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie and Sunrise is an official Bandalux partner.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now, it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common, preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
Join the InterMiami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit InterMiamiCF.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Welcome back in, Man of the Match here on Onside Radio. By the way, I like Myles Gaskin's attitude. You know, he was asked about the Dolphins maybe looking for more running backs. He said, "Above my pay grade. To be honest with you, whatever they do upstairs is what they do upstairs. Whoever we bring in, I know it's going to be the best for the team. I don't think drafting a back or bringing in a back is going to change anything for me," he said. And listen, Gaskin, I understand. And listen, maybe I don't take the guy seriously enough because he's a former 7th-round draft pick, but when he was on the field, he was really productive last year. I mean, 584 yards, 3 touchdowns, 41 receptions, 388 receiving yards. Like if he can stay healthy and on the field, and we're bringing in our guy Stephen D, my good pal from Miami Sports Music. And by the way, Steve, it was a thrill to join you this morning on your morning show. Let people know where they could find that, because I love the community that you guys build. And, of course, I'm happy that you're a part of Onside Radio as well here evenings from 6 to 7. But you guys have become multimedia giants at Miami Sports Music.
I wouldn't go that far yet, but I do appreciate the sentiment. You can find us every morning from 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. on Miami Sports Music's YouTube channel. If you notice, every time I get onto the computer here towards your last segment, I say hit that like button. So I need everybody to hit that like button on here, and then when they get into the show in the morning, because it's all about the fans, right? And so we need to have that fan interaction, and that's what I love about it. That's why I like this little chat you guys got going on in here right now about Fast and Furious 50.
Fast and Furious 50 and all the Final Destination movies. Like we got people in the chat like coming up with the worst ways to die, which I don't know. Maybe we could do a whole show on that at some point. And to Somebody, Satan Mouse put in there, eaten by a shark or a gator. That either of those sound like an awful way to go. But I don't want to get too much into all that, Steve. I want to ask you, I was just reading a quote from Myles Gaskin, and I really like his attitude. And again, I still think the Dolphins need more at the running back position, but when he was on the field last year, he was really productive. Like, he had a COVID issue, health issues last year. If Myles Gaskin can stay on the field, theoretically he could get better, Steve, because teams won't be able to stack the box against the Dolphins anymore. When you've got Jalen Waddle and Will Fuller stretching the field, I think Myles Gaskin can have even more success next season.
Look, we all saw what Myles Gaskin could be, right? And at the end of the day, Myles Gaskin, I think, is going to be a huge X factor for the Miami Dolphins this season. But as I said on my morning show, I think the person that will be the X factor at running back this year is not on the roster yet, right? So I'm not sure who that is. I do think that Gaskins is going to get a load of the carries. And if worse comes to worse and this roster doesn't turn over in any way, shape, or form between now and week 1, yes, he will be that workhorse. And, yes, I like his attitude. He's there for a reason. He is a Greer and Flores guy. But I want to know at the end of the day, can we rely on him for now 17 games to get us to the promised land? And that I just don't know yet.
Absolutely. Well said, man. Hey, what do you have planned tonight on Miami Sports Music for the fans?
Well, for Miami Sports Music for the fan, I have my good friend Ian Big E, the NFL Fan of the Year. So I am super excited to have him on the show tonight. So make sure everybody checks in for that. It's going to be a good time.
That's going to be fantastic. Well, have a great show, Steve, and I thought you really brought it strong in the debut last night. How did you feel in the Onside Radio debut? Because I said it, you didn't even sound nervous. Like adrenaline maybe, but no butterflies. You sounded fantastic.
Hey, man, I'm too big of a guy to have butterflies. That would just not be a good thing. So, look, I had fun, and I loved that Big O, and I got a lot of support from you guys and the text crew from Sean and my producer, Tim, who big shout out to Tim. Tim's the man. So
Tim is the man.
I do. I love him to death. So, yeah, we're definitely going to do things big as we move forward with Onside Radio.
Good stuff, man. Have a great show coming up here in a couple minutes.
You too, brother.
Awesome stuff there from Steve D. Miami Sports Music for the fan is coming up. Huge thanks to Alex Aguirre for doing everything he's doing. Tim for stepping in, doing awesome work as well. We talked about zombies in the WWE with Sean Stanley. He was really good. Jameson Olive, we talked some Florida Panthers with him. We talked some Heat, Panthers, and Dolphins with Mike Cugno from CBS 4. And we took a deep dive on the Canes and Dolphins with Jakari Givens today from the 5 Regions Sports Network. And I would encourage everyone, thank you for all the love on YouTube and from the live listeners. If you miss anything, you can catch replays, my friends. Go to every podcast channel, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, search my name, Alex Donno, or search Onside Radio, and you can find podcasts for everything we do. Full shows, full hours, rants, interview segments. You can catch up with everything, OnsideRadio.com and all the podcast channels. We will talk to you guys tomorrow. We got Stephen D., Miami Sports Music for the fan, coming up next here on the only locally owned sports station in South Florida, OnsideRadio.com.
AM 1260 WLEN.
We're live and local. Honey, are we really?
Just read what they wrote.
We're the best sports station for Miami.
What kind of programming genius does it take to flip a switch and put it on an ESPN satellite? We're your